मंजिलें उन्हीं को मिलती हैं, मंजिलें उन्हीं को मिलती हैं जिनके सपनों में जान होती है। मंजिलें उन्हीं को मिलती हैं जिनके सपनों में जान होती है। पंखों से कुछ नहीं होता, पंखों से कुछ नहीं होता, हौसलों से उड़ान होती है। Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Rajiv Vaishnav. I head the ecosystem and partnerships at GenNext Hub. On behalf of Team GenNext, it is my privilege to welcome you all to the graduation of Fall 2015, the event called Relay. We call it Relay is because we at GenNext believe that the journey of a startup has no end. It can only evolve from one stage to next. From an idea to incubation, to acceleration, to growth, and journey continues. When we induct startups at GenNext, each startup is at a different level of their evolution journey and needs customized mentoring and support. Let's hear what they have to say about GenNext and how each one was benefited.
We work in the area of energy and technology. What bigger names can you look at when you're talking about this place? Reliance from the energy side and Microsoft Ventures from the technology side. The kind of inputs that they gave us helped us improve the vision for our product and continuously evolve. I can almost say that the overall program was like a mini educational experience to improve the focus and deliver greater results from our product.
Any idea cannot be monetized if you are not clear about what to do, how to do, why to do, and all. You need financial modeling, you need business modeling, you need the path to scale, and GenNext has been with us in every step of this.
GenNext has brought together a big ecosystem for the startups. It has provided us with tools where we can innovate, experiment, and take our startup to the next level. Not only that, we've learned a lot from Reliance ecosystem, how to think at scale and execute at scale.
GenNext helped me to understand the enterprise world better. It is helping us to scale our business in especially B2B segment.
GenNext helped us connect with eminent personalities from various sectors of the business. The time spent with these eminent personalities one-on-one for advice and the valuable time that we got with them helped us take better informed business decisions.
When we came to GenNext, we already had a working product, which is Binge. But at GenNext, they kind of helped us take a larger perspective of things, take a step back, really analyze our customer base. And what we realized is that our real customers were not really the people who were paying, but the merchants who we were helping out. And once we figured that out and we realized that we can actually target a larger set of merchants, solve a bigger problem for them, and we kind of helped us pivot in the last 2-3 months that we've been here, and which has kind of brought us to where we are now.
Pixel has a very strong product team. GenNext has complemented by being a strong mentor for us in the business area. So they have worked closely with us to actually come up with a business model which is replicable and scalable. During the course, we also went through number of mentorship in various other aspects of building a company. For example, branding, financing, IP by various industry experts.
GenNext has given us a lot of clarity in the business model, not to mention the very high quality of interactions with business leaders, industry leaders across industries. And they've also helped us connect with people in the sports, the technology, and the startup ecosystem, which has been immensely beneficial to us to fill in gaps, critical gaps in our strategy and our execution.
GenNext gave us a lot of exposure to very, very experienced industry people. This helped us understand our industry better and also helped us fine-tune a business model. At the GenNext Innovation Hub, the collaborative environment that the startups provided us helped us learn from their mistakes and therefore not repeat the mistakes ourselves.
Ladies and gentlemen, tech in Asia are our community partners, and this event is relayed live by them. So you may request your colleagues to witness the proceedings of this event. Let me now invite Mr. Vivek Rai Gupta. Mr. Gupta is a senior advisor to the chairman at Reliance Industries. He is the co-founder and managing partner of RIL-backed GenNext Venture Fund. May I request Mr. Gupta for his welcome remarks. Sir.
Good afternoon, friends. Welcome to our graduation day. And thank you for honoring us by your presence. There are 3 or 4 things I'd like to cover very briefly to give you a context of where we are going, and what the journey means for all of us. I think it would be fair to say that we started with this with a small twinkle in our eye a couple of years ago. Had heard of startups. We had heard of startup nations. David was here last time. David is sitting here. And he talked about what has been happening in Israel. He opened our eyes to that. I think basis that, and Dr. Michelka, thank you for your continued guidance. Thank you for being here, and thank you for supporting us. Welcome. Dr. Paul Raj, welcome to the event. Thank you for endorsing us. And so many of you, by just your sheer presence, it's a huge endorsement to a very small effort that we've started. I think on a long journey, but we think we are making big strides. And I want to take you through what we are doing and where we hope to get and what it means for all of us. So very simply, you see the startups graduating. That is really what creates the excitement for us, but that is a part of the story. It is really the tip of the iceberg. These startups, we call them that they are learning from us. We are actually learning through their eyes how to innovate, how they are experiencing failures, how they are experiencing different things. That gives us ideas in terms of how to build digital platforms. We really here, at the end of the day, doing 3 things. And I think these 3 things can be significant value, not only to Reliance, because we're here as part of Reliance, but it means a lot to each of us individually. It means a lot to India. We've looked at how lives, how industries, and how economies progress. We've estimated that Digital India can add at least 2 points to our GDP. And that translates in our minds well over several $100 billion. That is what the mission is. It's not about obviously the dollars, but it is improving and impacting the digital lives of all of us. So in this hub, on top of the geo broadband ecosystem that we are building and we'll be launching soon, we are building Digital India with the help of all of you, with the help of our bright entrepreneurs who are here, who are not graduating, they're just part of this day, and more are joining us in helping us build this Digital India. Let me give you a couple of examples of what we mean when we talk about building digital platforms and how it impacts the lives of people in everyday things that they do, and in terms of how it creates value for us as a nation, how it creates value for us as Reliance and VC. If you look at all industries, whether it is the financial sector, and you'll hear from some of our friends, whether it is in the payments, whether it is in the medical, all of those industries are going through transformation. We know about that transformation. But the digital transformation is like a transformation we've never seen so far in our lives. We are trying to be part of that. We are trying to learn and catalyze so that we can create a far more efficient business model. The efficiency is not a result of taking away something from somebody else and adding to it. It is actually improving real productivity. Real productivity then translates into more capita, more income per employee or per person. That translates into better living standards, better access to facilities, better access to amenities, whether it is in terms of cars or anything like that. That is what we are after, to actually make a fundamental difference in the lives of people, to improve our per capita GDP. We are right now, if we compare ourselves to China and others, we have a long way to go. We compare ourselves to Israel, the startup nation, and we are trying to emulate some of those things, and we'll talk about that. In terms of the digital platforms, and I told you I'll give you some examples, we are working across all key sectors of consumers and economies where we touch. We are working on financial inclusion. Today we have in India well over 200, 300 million people that are not part of the digital economy, leave alone they're not part of even the banking system. Yes, the government has opened the bank records, but till those people come into the economy, it's not going to add income, it's not going to create demand for services, it's not going to flow back to them in terms of creating wealth. We are building digital platforms through, so hopefully, a broadband which will penetrate every part of the nation and being able to bring them back into the digital economy. We are looking at various different models. We have no qualms in copying our friends from Israel or bringing them as our partners, looking at the best technologies that we can do, and building those digital platforms from the ground up so that we can add hopefully 100, 200, 300, 400 million people into the financial inclusion that will then therefore improve the lives of the people. Similarly, we're doing the same thing in jobs. We know that India needs to create at least 100 million jobs over the next few years. The reason for that is that there is a huge mismatch in terms of the skills, in terms of the jobs available, in terms of even the knowledge of where and how these people need to find that kind of the training and where do they need to go. We are creating a huge portal, in this case, a partnership with the government of India in terms of looking at how we find the right opportunities, how we guide our people so that they can apply, they can train, they can refresh themselves to be part of the digital economy. So they're not looking at and getting into, I can't get a job, I'm graduating, what happens to me? We're looking at, in this instance, at least 20, 30 million people that we can bring into the productive economy from being unemployed or underemployed. Similarly, we are looking at all aspects. We are looking at aspects, we discussed about connected cars, we discussed about energy, things that make a difference to us in our lives, in our daily lives, and create value. That is what the GenNext is about. We have a large goal for ourselves, and we think that we are well on our way. It started with a twinkle, I think in year 1, 18 months, and when you come next time, hopefully we'll be able to share with you further progress that we're making in some of those stories. So that's what we are after. How are we doing it? We are obviously doing it with the best people. We are doing it with our homegrown talent, but we are making sure that our homegrown talent has access to the best minds anywhere in the world. So we are not limiting and saying, okay, if it is in India, we need to learn all the way. We have no shame in collaborating with the best people. We have tied up with the best people in Israel. We're looking at tying up with stalwarts that are here, like Dr. Paul Raj with Stanford, with other best places so that we can learn from innovation, we can learn and how other economies are building, and bring those experiences right into the platform and people that are going to be sitting here at the hub. Similarly, we have a big effort underway to tie up with at least about 50 to 75 corporations. Those corporations then provide the pilots for our people that are working here to be able to test and demo their products so that they can catch and learn what they're doing at a very early stage and grow up to become the best companies. One of the promises that we made, and I think Dr. Mishelkar, you will endorse me on that, we said that our ambition is not about just creating wealth, it is not about that. We want to make sure that from the hub, in several years from now, and we've put a target of 2018-19, we will have companies from here that can stand up and say that we came from India, but we are better than anybody else in the world. I think we've set ourselves that kind of a target. And I think we are well on our way to doing that with some of the things that we are doing. I'll just show you in terms of the ecosystem we are building. So these are the components of what does the hub mean? We have a global vision. We are connecting ourselves with the global people. Many of them you see in the room itself, and hopefully you'll take a moment to connect with them. We are connecting, as I just said, with the global corporates, universities, venture capitalists, and the best in the world. We have residence teams, and we obviously benefit hugely from the domain knowledge that sits here in this campus itself. So any of the companies that come here can benefit by actually just being able to reach out to any of the areas that they want. We provide them access to anchor customers, whether it is our own or whether it is our friends or other connected companies and parts, so that they can test what they're doing. And our program is immersive. It is really about hands-on building. It is not about just coming into classes and doing that. And finally, the capital is what keeps everything moving. but that is not what we focus on. That's just a glue that keeps things. And this is really what we were discussing in terms of making this India-centric, but making this India-centric in a way that it sits and gets connected to the rest of the world in a meaningful way, so that any company, any startup, any person comes here has ability not only at early stage, but as he moves on to the different stages, to be able to test his ideas with the best in the world and to be able to tap into the knowledge system with the best in the world. And all of these partnerships are in different stages and they're maturing. We are learning how to work. We are learning from other partners. Thanks to our friends. Again, I point to David. He has been instrumental in connecting us with the best people in Israel. David, thank you so much. I formally acknowledge your contributions. We have connected with Stanford. We are really tapping into all of that, and I think that ecosystem will pay dividends as we go down the road. Thank you, and hope you will get something out of it. We look forward to your contributions. We look forward to your participation. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Mr. Gupta. Thank you very much. We are fortunate to have amongst us Padma Bhushan Professor Arogyaswamy Paulraj from Stanford University, an inventor, a serial entrepreneur, and an investor. I'm requesting Professor Paulraj to deliver his keynote address. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together to welcome Professor Paulraj.
Dr. Mashilkar, Mr. P.M.S. Prasad, Mr. Rai Gupta, very distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's a fantastic honor and a real pleasure to be in front of you this evening to celebrate the graduation day of GenNext. GenNext is now an important element now in the venture capital scene in India, and with an outstanding partnership between entrepreneurs and investors. The quality of both the portfolio companies and the venture team is really world class. I would like to congratulate Mr. Mukesh Ambani to have launched this wonderful effort, and I'm sure it will be a big part of the growth of our country. I'll make some brief remarks today on three issues. The first is the Indian venture ecosystem today, as we see it today. Second, on emerging technologies for tomorrow. And third, about the enduring values that underpin technology ventures, both yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So where is the Indian ecosystem for technology ventures today? I see a lot of very good news. For example, the business infrastructure has improved significantly in recent years. Capital, availability of capital, legal advice, finance, and a round of multiple things now make it much easier to do startups. And perhaps more profoundly, risk-taking and understanding that there's no reward without risk has now finally seen a sea change. Particularly youngsters are now coming forward to start companies, which is always, of course, is risky. And also physical infrastructure, at least in the area of internet-based platforms, is coming into place, though I think India does need to improve access to internet for its large population. And finally, the knowledge base for companies, for internet-based companies at least, I think is excellent. I don't see it behind anything I see in the Silicon Valley. So my suggestion to this fantastic energy now in India is that we should actually think global. Technology that solves problem in India also will have customers around the world. So we should start locally, but grow globally. So to sum up on this issue, India has entered a truly exciting period to unleash entrepreneurial energy, a great beginning. We still have a long way to go, but I think I can't see a better beginning than I see today in India. Next, I want to talk a little bit about the world of technology tomorrow. So there are 5 technologies that are growing rapidly and that are intertwined and interdependent. These are bio, robotics, information technology, nano, and energy. I'm sure you're familiar with all of these. These 5 technologies, which I call BRINE, B-R-I-N-E, will transform human existence as we know it in a profound manner. Hard to see today what will happen, but the transformation will come. Bio is probably the most exciting segment among them all. And some of the metrics for the advancement of bio are staggering. For example, the decoding of the human genome, which actually in 1995 had taken 13 years and $200 million, today can be done for $500 and in 7.5 seconds. So it certainly beats Moore's law, which we're familiar with in electronics, by a large margin. Robotics is also advancing rapidly. It's moving into areas which are way beyond manufacturing, where it has already taken hold, to agriculture and even to hospitality sector. So robotics, of course, poses dangers to India because it tends to kill jobs, and we have to be very careful that the role of robotics in India, where we have to, as Mr. Vivek Rai Gupta mentioned, have to create another 100 million jobs over the next few years. Information technology has, of course, delivered amazing products, from the internet to smartphones to cloud computing and so on. But much more is in the horizon, from machine intelligence to machine vision, to virtualization, to cyber-physical systems. There's a huge change going on. And so information technology will continue to grow and actually underpins all other technologies I talked about. Nanotechnology, of course, has impacted semiconductors in a profound manner. Today, I guess the chips in our phones today, the latest chips, are probably at 13 nanometers feature size. But it will go beyond that to profoundly change new materials. So nano has already begun to enter, but I see a lot of a big revolution ahead from nanotechnology. Finally, energy is gathering momentum, driven by the need to move away from fossil fuels to clean energy. Solar photovoltaic and other kinds of solar, to energy storage, to smart grids, will revolutionize energy. India, in particular, has challenges because we have to both transition to clean energy quickly and also to ensure that our vast numbers of our citizens can access energy affordably and live a more decent life. India has not been a big source of high technology. For example, the commercial jets we fly in, the wireless devices we have in our hands, the precision instruments like MRI we use in hospitals, or the pharmaceuticals that we of course use for our health. Of course, we have a manufacturing industry in pharma, but not the discovery industry. All have been so far foreign sourced. And I think we need to catch up. The whole area of brine is moving very rapidly, and we can and we must meet the West and be a major contributor to the technologies as it evolves around the world. The single factor, I think, that probably is still a blocking factor in India is a wise policy framework from the government. I've often been involved with it. I think all of us have to move to find ways to shape effective government policy, because high technology is immensely consumptive of capital, is also very risky, and the government has to play a very effective part to move a country into that arena. Finally, some comments about entrepreneurial values, both yesterday, today, and tomorrow. First, for investors, I would say that fund people and teams because technology, competition, markets all keep shifting. But a good team can will deliver success. And second thing I would also mention is patience. With few exceptions, most technology ventures are a hard slog. And working patiently with the companies through bad times can often grab success out of what might be a failure. I often work with Vinod Khosla in the Silicon Valley, and his philosophy often is to fund only tough problems. And I think his logic is, if you can solve tough problems, you really solve important problems for the society, but also it puts a distance between you and the competition. So for entrepreneurs, my thinking would be is that succeeding is often harder than you think. So passion and perseverance is often the key to success. Also, hire the very best talent. Top talent makes the critical difference in every company, in any company. Finally, is also good teamwork. Indians do not get high marks in the Silicon Valley for teamwork. The cracks within the senior management of any company certainly endangers it, but for a small company, it can be totally fatal. So I would say perseverance, passion, teamwork, all these things are important. Of these, in my opinion, perseverance is the greatest. GenNext, and indeed the Indian entrepreneurship ecosystem, is now on the march. We must use the successes today to invest in high technology tomorrow, where the investments and the risk factors will be much, much higher. So before I end, I want to make a broader remark about India. I sit at Stanford, and you'll be amazed to see that at least every week there's some seminar about India. And so I would just say that despite all our challenges, India is a jewel or a beacon on the hill in this world, which is quite, as you know, is really having lots of difficulties. And it's our values as a democratic, secular, inclusive, and a pluralistic society, which as a nation, where whatever your ethnicity or your religion or language or your wealth, the law, you're equal in front of the law and equal in front of the society. So this is a huge advantage. I think we hold on to this, our success to grow a society where it meets all its aspirations, all its people is ensured. So finally, my sincerest congratulations to the entrepreneurs and the venture team at GenNext. You've done a great job. It's a good beginning, and I'm sure the future is extremely bright. Thank you very much for inviting me and for your patience. Thank you.
Wow, thank you very much, sir. What a profound and in-depth insights that you have provided. The pearls of wisdom. And my takeaway from this talk is a couplet that may summarize what I felt. नज़र को बदलो, नज़ारे बदल जाएंगे. नज़र को बदलो, नज़ारे बदल जाएंगे. सोच को बदलो, सितारे बदल जाएंगे. नज़र को बदलो, नज़ारे बदल जाएंगे. सोच को बदलो, सितारे बदल जाएंगे. किश्तियाँ बदलने की ज़रूरत नहीं. किश्तियाँ बदलने की ज़रूरत नहीं. राह को बदलो, किनारे बदल जाएंगे. Today we are very lucky to have amongst us some very distinguished personalities, and we are all very eager to listen to them. May I invite them all on the stage. Padma Vibhushan, Dr. Raghunath Mashelkar, sir, Chairman of Reliance Innovation Council. Mr. Bhaskar Pramanik, Chairman, Microsoft India. Welcome, sir. Mr. Ravi Gurraj, serial entrepreneur and angel investor, a mentor par excellence, is the founder CEO of QuickPod. Welcome to you, sir. And to moderate this fireside chat, we are fortunate to have Mr. Rohit Bansal, Head of Corporate Communication at Reliance Industries, and who is a prolific Twitterer. Welcome to you, sir. Thank you, and over to you, sir. Thank you.
there are only two ways of starting. One is to follow the example we see at 9 o'clock on the news hour, where the anchor starts and stops only at the end of the program. The other is a relatively old-fashioned and somewhat sedate way of doing things. So with your permission, sirs, I would like to stick to the tried and tested format and not try and ape my friend, Mr. Arnab Goswami. So I think it'll be an excellent norm setting has been already done as to what GenNext has done. Thank you, Vivek, for this, and Dr. Paul Raj. So if I would just try and speak for a moment on behalf of everyone here and say, what is the core thing that is going right for India at this moment, even though sometimes some of us go through a myriad of challenges? What is going right for India when you say we are the jewel in the crown? In Silicon Valley, things are happening a little slower than probably in Bangalore. So what is it that you specifically would like to score?
I'd put two, three factors, but I think the big change in India is that our talent, young talent, has moved away from security and government jobs into taking risks and being entrepreneurs. It is nothing more important than that kind of energy, risk-taking, because there are no rewards without risks. And so I think we have that factor coming in. The internet has now come to India, and certainly it's now pervasive, at least in the cities. So that's a wonderful platform. So the combination of risk-taking and the internet will now generate a large number of companies which can solve some very real problems in India. I always say in India, our physical infrastructure is very challenged. It's not easy to change that despite all our efforts. So in the internet is the virtual infrastructure, and we can now build wonderful value for the country. So I see that as the sea change.
So when we say internet, probably you also imply mobile internet, which is really the internet and the future. So it's not often that I have a Padma Bhushan and a Padma Vibhushan sitting together and on my right, so I'm kind of very fortunate here. Dr. Paul Raj also mentioned that policy environment is not great. You hang out with the policy crowd a lot of. What's changing? What is the likely scenario of actually scoring much higher on our policy framework? What makes you as optimistic as you are in your offside?
I think there is a lot. But let me just continue with what he had said, and then I will add on to your question. Dr. Paul Raj is dead right when he talks about the young. And I'll give an anecdote to tell you, Rohit, to me, what is the biggest change. It is that mindset change where young people are interested in creating jobs rather than seeking jobs. And their level of aspirations are rising. I interact very closely with young people, and on the other day there was this discussion, Satyam, Shivam, Sundaram. Satya Nadella, Microsoft, Sundar Pichai, Google. So Shiva also will come. I'm not talking about Shivanathan, I'm talking about global sort of CEO. So we were talking to young people, and Kaval Rekhi, whom you mentioned, by the way, said in 1967 our dream used to be to go to US somehow. Then later on, one young fellow said, yeah, job with Microsoft, job with Google, right? And then now, becoming Satya Nadella or Sundar Pichai, the CEOs. And one fellow got up and said, no, none of that. We want to now create our own Microsofts, our own Googles in India. I think that's a big change, basically, that level of aspiration. Now, aspiration has to be matched by ambience, and that ambience has to be created by the government based on policy frameworks. And I'm very happy that our Prime Minister has launched Startup India. Of course, the movement had already started. The fact that on the very first day he was able to select out of 10,000, 1,500 implies that it has started. But what is happening is that there is a big policy push that is being given. I remember I used to always say in .com days that the only .com India needs is hassle-free.com, honestly. And that is where policy actually comes in. So to remove hurdles is one thing, but to accelerate the pace, and I just, while coming here, noted down something, which the government is trying to do, like compliance regime based on self-certification, faster registration and exit for startups, making it hassle-free really, relaxing norms for public procurement for startups. I think it's a very important one because in my own experience of 40 years, I have seen that to be a big bottleneck. Shanta Biotech, for example, it suffered as a result of that. It was a great startup. Then the fund of funds that they have created, the credit guarantee fund, then the tax exemptions, most importantly patents, basically to make it hassle-free for young people, fast tracking of their patents, for example, looking at patents as an intangible asset that can get counted. I think so many of these I welcome, very frankly. Of course, these are good intentions. And government, it is always on test because what is said has to be finally executed. But if all this is executed, you can just see the kind of momentum that will get. India doesn't have time to move from first to second, second to third, third to fourth gear. I think we have to move to the fourth and hopefully in the fifth or sixth gear. And therefore, all this acceleration, which is based on policy support, by creating that kind of ecosystem, I think is extraordinarily important, and I'm seeing the signs of that happening.
Strictly out of course, but I think political funding is something we need to fix because the whole rent seeking and the delay and the whole thing comes out of a genuine political problem as to how to run the system minus, lubrication. So, Bhaskar, if you can tell us what is the real problem in getting swept away with the kind of optimism we heard on the right side?
So actually, I'm equally optimistic. For a change, we don't have to fight the government. I think the government is actually working along with us. And I'm not saying everything is perfect. There's enough challenges here and there, but it's all moving in the right direction. But the reason why I'm more optimistic is really for two reasons. One is, or actually three reasons. The first is, I think, the infrastructure. We just had a chance before we came in to have a look at the Reliance experience, the Geo Experience Center. And, it's amazing. When Geo launches, I think it's going to, Geo along with Airtel and everybody else in the telecom sector is going to enable us to get access to information and to data, not just in the big cities, but all across the country. So I think that is amazing. Microsoft, we've set up 3 huge data centers here in India. We commissioned them over the last 12 months. And we have more capacity, servers, networks, storage than the government of India, both central and state governments put together. And we are finding that that has created huge opportunities across the largest of enterprises to the smallest of SMBs, as well as to the developer community. And I think that is huge. I think the 2 other factors which I think are really critical is that when I talk to the CEOs of large and small companies, one thing is very clear. Everybody wants to go digital. And therefore, while the platforms existed in the past, today we have the startup community who are creating applications and services which are going to enable some of the traditional companies to even disrupt. And that, I think, is a major change. CEOs are no longer just looking for their own IT departments to come out with innovation. They're actually asking companies like us to partner with them to discover ISVs who can help solve problems. And what's remarkable is that 2 years ago, when we started this partnership with Reliance, I still remember from the first batch, there were these 2 companies. One was called iBot, and the other one, I think, is called GenNext, or in the logistics, yeah. And both of them have done so well. In fact, I was in Pune with Bajaj FinServ, and Sanjeev Bajaj was talking about how they're going to revolutionize the world of insurance, because he's now going to charge premiums based upon how well you drive your car, and the technology which powers that is basically from iBot. So I think, we're seeing that, and I think that will continue to fuel the market. I don't think the startups need to worry about what is happening in the US. They should, because that's much bigger market. But I think we're catching up, because that consumption is going to take place here, and therefore it's going to be important. I think the fourth factor, which makes me very positive, is the average Indian citizen is now is not scared of technology. I mean, I won't say he's completely digitally literate, but he's not scared of technology. And the willingness to adopt technology is amazing. I mean, we did a pilot in a district called Srikakulam, where we actually use technology called Wi-Fi, where the national fiber optic cable ends to this village is about nearly 20 kilometers, and we use TV antenna. And we had 400 school children in 3 districts, all of a sudden using Skype to converse with students in Kenya, and also with our CEO, Satya Nadella. So all of a sudden, there's so much of potential opportunity in terms of being able to really get the best to all parts of the marketplace, and that's why I feel really optimistic. And I think the government is really helping in making that happen. But the combination of the startup community, the large enterprises wanting to adopt new disruptive technologies, the techno-savvy Indian consumer, the wonderful infrastructure which we are now building in this country, it's going to be the best in the world, and we don't have to be ashamed of our highways anymore, because our internet highway is going to be perhaps the best in the world. So I think that's really what makes me optimistic.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm trying to infuse some sense of gray, but there doesn't seem to be any so far. So I'm going to turn to Ravi Gururaj to tell us something about Bangalore. I'm sure it doesn't include its traffic. So there must be something which we need to guard against to go out there and say, look, these wise men came together and also suggested a few to-do things to Mr. Modi and his team.
So, Mr. Bansal, I'm going to disappoint you. I'm going to be another optimist on this panel. What's not to like about where we are today in India? I mean, it's the youngest, biggest country in the world, right? We have more folks under 30 than any other country, including China. And they're going to devour everything you're going to throw at them in the technology perspective. They're going to amplify, they're going to innovate, they're going to create content, they're going to create applications. The world's never been as flat as it is today. Truly, you can build an app from a garage on the coast, in a coastal hamlet somewhere from India, and publish in the app stores, monetize in 90 currencies in 100 plus countries. You couldn't do that 5 years ago. You can do that today. So that's why I think there's excitement. I think, I've started 6 businesses, 3 in the US, 3 in India. I started one in 2000s, and at that time, when we used to publish our little DLLs or OCXs, VVXs, we used to work with Microsoft as a partner, I would actually send the software to the VSNL building. We would encode it. We would put it on a floppy disk. Somebody would stand in line at the clerk, and he would upload it. And then we would put it up on the bulletin board, and then our Microsoft partner would download it in Seattle from a bulletin board. And that was a daily process. That was my process, right? And I went through that company for 5 years. The next time I started a company, I was looking for financing, and there was no VC around. So I went to Boston to Bain Capital Ventures to raise my money, right? Even though the company was here in India. This time around, I'm starting, and I hope I'll have Geo at 80 megabits per second. I'll have, exactly, I'll have, there's numerous venture capitalists, there are angel groups, there are corporate accelerators, there's the ecosystem is so rich, and we've only seen the tip of the iceberg. So anybody who proclaims we're in a bubble, it's about to burst, maybe the valuations will get shaved. But the real problems aren't going away. The real users aren't going away. The people aren't going away. The innovation's not going away. So, I don't think we should, bias ourselves to always thinking about the valuations, the headlines of the newspapers. I think as long as you're solving real problems, and God knows, India has plenty. All you have to do is stand at any street corner and turn around 360 degrees. There are plenty of problems to be solved. And so I am extremely bullish in the medium and the long term. and I ignore the short term in the sense of trying to read the market and all of that. You do go through waves, and I think we just have to ride that out. And I think it's just an amazing time to be an entrepreneur in India, and an amazing time for corporates to be working with startups. In fact, those that don't do it at their own peril, in some sense, and the lost opportunity will be tremendous. So, that's where I come at it. And every time I meet, and I get to meet so many in my role. I'm fortunate to meet so many visiting CEOs, and there is tremendous, palpable interest in engaging in India, because India is seen as a big, homogeneous, available domestic market. But they're also interested in India as an ecosystem for innovation in the future, because they see here probably the second, third biggest ecosystem. There's the US, and in the US it's mostly Silicon Valley, with all due respect to all the other cities. And then Israel is a standout for a country that has been able to innovate and an outsize relative to its footprint, its physical footprint. And then there's India. And that's where I think we rank fundamentally, and that's why I'm optimistic, because I just can't see anything being a real hurdle. There may be little stumbles, it may be a little bit rocky path to climb, but I think that's actually going to toughen us up. We're actually going to create an ecosystem where it's not easy to win, and those that win here will be global winners in my mind.
So from Guru Raj to Paul Raj, I will ask you, sir. You say that perseverance is a very underappreciated or relatively important, whichever way we look at it, value. The young generation we see in our workplace, at home, elsewhere, they seem to be also the impatient generation. And they seem to think of the smartphone as the arbitrator of all things that they want. Is there something you would like to tell us about perseverance and the new generation at the risk of being politically absolutely incorrect?
Sure. So let me tag a little bit, pick up another comment, and then come back to your question. So, I'm the lone guy here, with apologies to Dr. Mashilkar from the academia. So I'm egghead from universities. So what I wanted to say there was, India has now a vast infrastructure of universities, and the next jet engine, the next molecule which will cure cancer, or the next technology which will improve wireless in enormous ways. I can mention things like metamaterials, orbital angular momentum, things that I work on, or the next precision technology for, say, diagnostics, medical diagnostics, have to come from, needs a lot of work. And much of that cloud comes from our universities. So while we are talking about startups, I think for the next layer of technology, we have to reach out and connect with our universities. We have excellent talent there. In fact, I spent yesterday the whole day at Institute of Science, along with the Governing Council and the professors. So we have world-class people. But I think the translation into products is something we as entrepreneurs have to connect with them and draw them out. So we have a duty on that account. To come back to perseverance, I have a number of stories. Everybody knows about NVIDIA. And I believe NVIDIA, in its beginning, went through a point where they had 2 board meetings to shut it down, because they were running out of money, and there was investors thought that was the only option left. And then some board member might have said, let's give it 1 more month, and today, the rest is history. My own startup, Beseem Communications. My first company, we actually did the core technology of 4G. So today, what you see in Geo MIMO OFDMA came from IOSpan, my first company, which got acquired by Intel. But the second company, Beseem, we built semiconductors for MyMax. And towards the end, LT, before we acquired by Broadcom, we went through very rough times. I would think in the fourth or fifth year, we had raised a lot of money, more than $120 million, but we were running out of it, because we were taking on Qualcomms and Intels of the world. And I would suspect that there were board meetings when we thought that there's not much life left in the company. But we persisted, and we had an excellent exit. So I see again and again that if you take on tough things, it's always hard. And it's very rare, very rare that you can actually have a free sailing. So So we want to do worthwhile things, also be prepared to work hard. I often see it's perseverance that pulls us through. So I think it's a very important quality.
So, Professor Mashilkar, when do we know we should stop trying and back something else rather than persevere like Dr. Paul Raj has spoken about?
I would say never stop trying, very frankly. At least that is what I've learned in my life. You keep on knocking on doors, and if the doors don't open, you create your own doors, very frankly. You know, it is not about seizing opportunity, it is about creating opportunity. And that's what I've learned from Reliance, by the way, from Dhirubhai Ambani, from Mukesh, you know. I think what is very important, perseverance is very important, but at the same time, I think the aspiration level has to be very high. I remember, I'll give a couple of anecdotes in my conversation with Mukesh Bhai, because they have been very inspiring, you know, either after the board meetings or before, depending upon his schedule, we spend some time on talking about life, not just board matters. Once I remember talking to him, I mean, he was saying leapfrogging. And we said, no, not leapfrogging. Frog can leap only that much. Pole vaulting. The size of the pole determines how far you will go. You know, it's incredible. And then that inspiring conversation created a program called Beyonders. As you know, Reliance has Reliance Innovation Council, which I'm very privileged to chair, and we have people like George Whiteside from Harvard as a member, and John Maryland, Nobel laureate as a member, Bob Grubbs as Nobel laureate, not because they are Nobel laureate and great scientists, but they are great entrepreneurs. C.K. Prahlad used to be a member, etc. And under that, we have a Reliance Innovation Leadership Center, and we build innovation leaders. And there is this program called Beyonder, where we are picking up young people out of our 100,000 who are capable of going beyond the realms of possibilities, you know. So I think that is extremely important. And once you set those sights, you will achieve them. There is no question about that at all. And by the way, for the sake of the audience, I might say something which might be of interest to you, because this was not known to me even about a month ago. You know, we talk about leapfrogging. This is very commonly used term. In the journal Nature, which publishes breakthrough scientific research, there is a study, detailed study about why the frog leaps. Not because he wants to leap, because there is a fear of a predator, basically, you know. So leapfrogging is done out of fear, by the way, to save himself. That study has come, and those of you who want to get access to that, visit my Twitter handle, @RameshMashelkar. I've tweeted that there. It's incredible. So I think we don't want to take any action because we are sort of frightened, but because our aspirations are high. And I like to end by remembering our good old C.K. Prahlad, the guru, who always used to say, there is what is called as resource, and there is what is called as aspiration. And the aspiration has to be always kept higher than the resource. And what happens is that as resource grows up, aspirations start coming down. And that is what we have learned at Reliance. And that means perseverance, persistence, but at the same time, aspiration, basically. I think that's the combination that works.
I'll just mention one more story of example of perseverance. This is about a factor of any startup about sale. You got to have sales to, money has to come in to survive. And an example of a salesman, a door-to-door salesman, who goes and puts himself up, goes and knocks on the door and trying to sell some device. And the housewife, a good salesman is someone who, housewife slams the door in his face and asks him to get out. So, but he doesn't lose confidence. He walks up to the next door with full confidence of making a sale. That's a good salesman. But a great salesman is someone who goes back to the same door and tries to make a sale.
Just take 1 second. I'm saying this because I traveled from Frankfurt to Bombay yesterday, and I saw a film about Sylvester Stallone, his latest movie. And what it talks to his son is very inspiring, by the way, because it goes with what he's saying. He says to his son, it's not so important as to how hard you hit your opponent, but how hard when you are hit, still you stand up, you don't fall. I think that is persistence.
So knock on the same door again. Yeah. And don't leapfrog, pole vault. Yes. Okay. Concluding remarks, which tell the entrepreneurs they are in the right place, the right time, and what should they guard against?
Yeah, so let me talk a little bit about what to guard against. And I think it's really based on the kind of energy and enthusiasm we saw in the startup community over the last couple of years. And now companies are getting mature. We are seeing signs where, I don't think that there is going to be a bust, but very clearly there is going to be where people will, certain organizations will stand up and be very clear. And I'm just reminded of a phrase which, or a statement from our CEO, Satya Nadella. And what he said was that as technology advances, our values must persist. And I think what we're trying to say is that technology has the ability to sometimes create more chaos and more challenges. Technology has the ability to get misused so that you lose sight of what you actually were setting out to do. And one of the best examples I can give is of a company like Airbnb, which doesn't just use technology to create a marketplace where consumers can find places to stay. They actually make sure that the service you get is the best, it's reliable, it's what you were promised, it's built on trust, it's built on transparency. And I think that in India, we need to make sure that as we have these, all the different startups, my word of advice to you is that trust, reliability is as important in the old world. It's one of the bases where Reliance became such a huge conglomerate today, as it is in the new world. And that technology should not be used to disrupt that trust. Okay, so I think that's one word of advice I'd like to leave with people, that as technology advances, just make sure that our values persist.
When you talk of values, do you not subscribe to this thing about America being a nation of counterfeiters at once upon a time, and the first million necessarily being a dirty million?
Not necessarily. I haven't heard that one before. That's a new one for me, but I don't really necessarily believe that that is true.
So you think that startups have a chance to stay steadfast on the value course and yet do a great job despite all competing advice?
Absolutely. I think, I can only talk about my own, life over working in India after so many years. And I really believe that the companies which have endured are the ones which had the values which they started at the beginning. I mean, whether you look at the Tatas or whether you look at Reliance or whether you look at any of the other large conglomerates, they had a certain set of values which have persisted over time, irrespective of what businesses they were in. So I think, it's a myth to say that in India you can only succeed if you find a flaw in the system and you exploit that. I think those days are not there, and everybody has choices. I would assume that the new generation will exert the right choices and do the right things for their customers as well as for their company.
So since I get to go last, I guess, the words of advice I'd have for any entrepreneur is don't do it because it's fashionable, because that wears off very quickly. You will lose momentum. You will certainly not be resilient. I think, do it because you really believe in something. And, how do you, that's easier said than, it's a very cliched term, believe in it. And I'll give you a simple test, do you get to bed at night and, you're thinking about what you're trying to build, right? And in some sense, but you sleep well because you have a good team, you've got a really good vision. And, and sometimes I wake up in the morning and I'm thinking about something that I just, maybe I've even dreamt about, right? In putting into my product or building in my team or somebody I want to go hire, right? And you're looking forward to the day. You shouldn't be a drag. It shouldn't be stressing you out. It should be something you're really invigorated about, right? I think that's key. The last other thing I'd add is, an opportunity like, GenNext here and working with Microsoft Ventures. While, some of y'all may be in the motion of in here, it's a huge opportunity. I tell you, it's so hard to break into a large enterprise. It's so hard to get a large company to work with you as a startup from the outside, completely outside, right? What are the 4 or 5 things a startup needs most? They need some guidance and coaching, 1C. They need capital. They need access to connects to various folks. And they need a customer. These are the 4 C's, right, that make up any startup. If you're a startup CEO, you have to be worrying about these 4 or 5 things and talent. That's it. And, so I think you get 3 or 4 of those C's at GenNext. You still got to go get your own talent. And, you may or may not get a customer, but hopefully you get enough launchpad that you can go get a bunch of customers that are large and get access to their insight. I think, leverage it well. And I think, I like the whole relay concept, which is, this is not just 3 or 4 months in a program. This is about a life span. This is about a journey, right, that you're taking together. And I think that's an awesome concept to really further, because this is just one little program, 4 months, to get you going, to build that personal relationship. And it's what you make of it. I don't think Reliance is going to spoon feed you. The GenNext program is not going to spoon feed. It's what you make of that network that's available, those resources that are available. I think leverage it to the hilt. You've got access now, proximity, and if it's what you make of it. It's even more valuable than, I think, capital, right? Just capital. That's I think where I'd leave it. I myself was involved in a corporate accelerator, and I know how valuable they can be, and that's why my 2 bits here at the end.
So I'll not summarize, because each one of us has a favorite view of what we heard. It often gets lost in translation. I'd only say that there was this clock which is saying 5:00. I thought it was supposed to, but it stopped right here. So in a way, I think all of us are very grateful to this panel for putting together such scintillating views, so much so that this clock actually stuck to where it was right in the beginning of the show. Thank you very much for your, and I suppose later on there will be time for chit-chat of an informal nature, and for sure there is a hashtag which is GenNext Relay 2016. So those of us who are on Twitter or perhaps even on Facebook can necessarily use that as a method to connect with the folks out here. Maybe you would take on to Twitter from here if we...
I never have a Twitter account, but I'll start one.
So that's breaking news for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. May I request Mr. Bansal to offer Reliance Jio's new mobile phone live to our distinguished guests as a token of our love and appreciation for their kind presence, and please, if you can. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you indeed.
Now I can have to try Android.
May I request? Thank you indeed. May I request Mr. Amay Mashelkar, mentor in residence, to please come up and offer one to our moderator, Mr. Bansal. Sir. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you very much. John Bingham once said that the miracle isn't that I finished. And this is very interesting. He says, the miracle isn't that I finished. The miracle is that I had the courage to start. And let me tell you, friends, कोई कीमत लगा सकता नहीं जिनकी ज़माने में, कोई कीमत लगा सकता नहीं जिनकी ज़माने में वो सारे हीरे जमा हुए हैं GenNext के खजाने में. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to present our startups of fall 2015, And to introduce them, I'm inviting Mr. Apul Nahata, our CTO at GenNext, on the stage, please. Mr. Apul Nahata, over to you, my friend.
Good evening, fellow entrepreneurs and friends. It's so good to see all of you here. I'm sure you'll all agree that the last panel was very inspiring, to say the least. I'd request all of you for a round of applause for all our distinguished guests and the panel that they had. So as the CTO, as Rajiv was saying, or yet another guy working closely with an accelerator, I'm very privileged to have worked with all of our startups in the accelerator, and I'm going to soon start calling they are very excited to present here. And I'd appreciate if we could get some of the guests which have gone out to sort of come back in. I think we're just getting started. Give us another minute or so. So we've got about 11 startups today that are going to pitch here, and they'll be available right after once they've done with the pitching. They'll be available at the booth outside. I definitely recommend and request those of you who are interested in talking to them to reach out to them right there and then. So I guess we are getting started now. For the first startup, they say prevention is better than cure. This is true even for machines. With technology and sensors now, predictive maintenance is taking over preventive maintenance. One of the industries which has gained a lot from this is wind and solar power. Let me introduce now Satish from Algo Engines, who will tell you how they are innovating in this particular area. Over to you, Satish.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Satish from Algo Engines. And what we're aiming to do is add $20,000 in revenue per megawatt to every wind and solar plant that you can see. We're already doing 10,000. That's the reason we put that up. Yeah, very often when I say that we're working in the wind and solar industry, folks come to us and say, guys, fossil fuels has hit record lows. Last year was the first time in history that the old relationship between fossil fuel prices and demand for renewable energy just broke apart and a new relationship was created. In spite of the reduction or the all-time lows in fossil fuel prices, renewable energy capacity addition is at an all-time high. This is one of the key drivers with which we're working. To give you an idea about the amount of investment, India alone is aiming to put in about $160 billion into renewable energy capacity over the next 5 years. Imagine the amount of assets that are going to get created. What we are trying to do is to take every bit of juice out of these assets, and that's the goal that Algo Engines is built and trying to deliver to. Various analysts will tell you that the amount of additional juice or revenue that you can get out of them ranges from between 10 to 20%. There are two key drivers to extract this 20% of revenue that we are aiming to do. One is improved operations and maintenance through computerized maintenance management solutions, and other is through predictive and prescriptive analytics, which is what we're working on. The team at Algo Engines brings together a set of skills. Firstly, the number of players in this startup team came up with experience in financial markets, where every second or every delay in data meant rupees. So this was the analysis and product management skills that we brought to the table when we started off this venture. Over the last 6 years, I was working in energy consulting in carbon credits and worked with a number of such wind energy and solar energy projects where we saw this opportunity. To add to this team, we brought in skills from guess where? Reliance. Our colleague in the team, Dhaval, worked at Reliance in Jamnagar in the electrical operations and maintenance side for over 3 years before he joined us to help strengthen this platform and deliver this value. So what we are is a cloud-based platform aimed at extracting value from energy solutions like wind and solar plants. A number of such assets which are replicable in nature have already been integrated into the system. Wind turbines, met masts, inverters in terms of solar plants, panels, transformers. We take data from all of these in order to help you visualize, monitor, and deliver value. Very often when I break this problem to a client, I get 3 users for our solution. One is folks at the monitoring level who want to know which asset in their diversified portfolio is working, which asset is down, and that kind of real-time monitoring over a mobile app or a web app. The second user category that we aim to cater to is folks who want reports. You know, the boss who says, where's my daily report? Where's my monthly report? So there's a whole bunch of reporting based on metrics which are leading edge with regards to solar, wind, with regards to gearbox transformers. At the next level, we use a ton of machine learning models in order to do things from forecasting the amount of energy that you're likely to generate to also focusing on what kind of problems your assets are likely to face in the future. We're integrated with a number of leading OEMs in this space. So as I often tell my clients, for most of the leading players, our time to market is less than a day. We are integrated and ready to go as soon as you get your asset up. Most folks often compare us to existing SCADA solutions or monitoring solution. But please realize the value that we bring. We bring a ready-made analytics solution, which not only offers real-time monitoring or reporting or just data mining, which often tends to be a large CapEx-based project involving a number of folks, but we integrate this and give it to you in an OpEx-based, ready-to-use model with a number of data mining models which are already applicable for most of these assets. So where are we right now in this journey? Just to give you some highlights of metric, today we manage assets which are already worth $2 billion on the field. These assets are currently spread across 5 countries, primarily in Southeast Asia. We're heading towards Europe next. And we got 6 customers. The key metric that I started off with, in this journey, what we're aiming to do is to improve the amount of carbon emission reduction on a per year basis. Today, we're at 175,000 tons. We're aiming to make that number huge as we undertake this journey. So far, all we've done is move from the megawatt to a gigawatt. Join us as we take this to a terawatt and more. Thank you.
Thank you, Satish. So this was the E in brain that Professor Paul Raj was referring to. So may the wind be on your back, Algo, as you guys soar high. So on to my next one. Instant gratification is the key these days. Consumer behavior is changing. We want something and we want it now. Let me introduce Srinivas from WeDeliver and how they are changing the intracity delivery model.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you. We represent WeDeliver. We deliver anything. Seriously? Are we crazy? Yes, we are crazy. We deliver everything and anything. Let me start with a real story. I was working in Chennai and I was suffering with fever. I wanted some breakfast and a paracetamol to be delivered. And there was no single company which could deliver me some breakfast with a paracetamol. As I said, I was working in Chennai. I was working for a power project company. Power project company, as you all know, it's a document intensive company. I wanted my documents to be delivered to my clients and consultants on the same day, which were within the city. And again, there was no single company. This was a problem that I have faced every single day, and I have delivered documents over 100 times myself. I just thought, is this a problem for everyone or only me? It was a problem for everyone. An interesting fact was that even local businesses wanted their goods or products to be delivered to their customers. And again, there is no reliable company which could deliver the products to their customers. So what is it? Here is WeDeliver, a point-to-point delivery company. We deliver anything that's legal, anywhere across the city, anytime from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. That is what we do. It sounds so familiar, but we are really different. Let me explain how. There are companies which take anywhere between 48 to 72 hours to deliver a document across the city. There are companies which take 12 hours to 24 hours to deliver a document. And there are a bunch of hyperlocal startups which take 60 to 90 minutes. Where does WeDeliver come in? WeDeliver is so amazing that comes anywhere between 60 minutes to 12 hours. Let's say you want a document to be delivered. We are there to deliver the document or anything in the next 60 minutes. And we are there to deliver the same thing in the next 12 hours. What happens in these 12 hours? In these 12 hours, we increase the efficiency, reduce the cost, and pass on the benefit to our customers. That is what we do. Let me tell you, we don't do different things, but we do things differently, and Prashant will explain how.
Hi all. So For centuries together, logistics has been the same. There hasn't been a real change in the things. But we are changing and reinventing the things in the logistics with a few technological improvements. The first, to start off, as Srinivas mentioned, we have clients which are giving you the supersonic orders, which is the next 90 minutes, and the orders which are coming from the next 12 hours kind of thing. For people who want 90 minutes and the 12 hours, you need to have an optimization algorithm which can club in both and then give out an optimization to the delivery boy at every point of time. So we have an inbuilt algorithm which gives this the delivery boy the first thing to be done after the other. The second, we have prepaid stickers. It's a simple QR code which we sell it to our businesses, wherein you stick it to the parcel, scan it, and there you go. My delivery boy comes in, he picks up the parcel and gets on. You don't have to do anything. The business does not even have to call us to do that work. The third, we have developed a volumetric photo analysis app, wherein you take a photograph of the parcel you want to deliver from a distance of 30 centimeters, and there we will get a volumetric weights of how much is the parcel and assign it to a delivery boy who can take that parcel out. Fourth, we do digital proofs at the point of pickup and at the point of delivery, so that no damage is being done during the transit, and any damage during this, if found by the customer, is the responsibility of WeDeliver. Last but not the least, we have designed a unique way to transport fragile items across the city. If you want to know more, visit our counter, and there you go. I'll give it back to Srinivas.
Thank you, Prashant. While all this is on, we have served 6,000 individual customers who forgot their mobiles, their chargers, who wanted checks to be delivered, who were pretty much busy every single day. We have served 6,000 people. And we have 50 plus business consumers all across the cities of Hyderabad and Chennai, whom we serve day in and day out. We have fulfilled 50,000 plus point-to-point deliveries till date. And the amazing thing is that our marketing budget is only $3,000. $3,000, and we made this. And the team which has delivered this, here are our clients. As Prashant said, we have clients in 12-hour slot. Companies like Zopper, Gati, Titan Airplanes use our service in 12-hour slot. We have companies like MySmartPrice, Hexaway using our service in 4-hour slot. And we have customers who are pretty much popular in Hyderabad ecosystem use our service in 60-minute slot. And this is a team that has been delivering excellence. I am Srinivas, founder and CEO of WeDeliver. Mr. Chaitanya heads operations, Mr. Prashant heads technology. We have Mr. Mahin Kannu as our chief advisor. He has 30 plus years of logistical expertise, and he is pretty much good in connecting the dots. And we have Mr. Sudhakar, who has 20 plus years of tech expertise. He's our seed investor and a technology advisor. Is that all? No. We have saved 50,000 literal hours for our customers, which means it translates to 5.7 years, and which actually means we have divided their stress, added life to them. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Srinivas. We look forward to having WeDeliver in many more cities. On to our third one, advertising. Advertising has been an age-old business, yet it keeps reinventing itself. With the advent of internet, we saw digital advertising take to the fore. With high-speed connectivity like Reliance Jio, it's poised to change again. And there's going to be a lot of innovation happening there. And I invite Abhijit from Pixel to talk about what their plans are to take this forward.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Abhijit, co-founder of Pixel. The idea of Pixel really resonated with us when we visited a restaurant. The food was fantastic, but the place was deserted. We were the only customers. I went ahead and asked the restaurant owner, and he replied. He had recently started the restaurant here and was finding it really difficult to reach out to the people in the neighborhood. There are 20 million such local businesses in India, and they are looking at new, innovative, and affordable means to reach out to the people within the neighborhood. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a $1.5 billion hyperlocal marketing opportunity in India, and globally, it is a $115 billion opportunity ready to be disrupted. 80% of the local businesses currently use newspaper inserts to promote themselves. But its distribution is time consuming, painful, and most of the time it is not effective. We as consumers try to avoid checking those newspaper inserts. Other options include traditional means like newspaper, radio, and digital means like Google and Facebook. Again, for a local business, all these options are either expensive or ineffective within the neighborhood. The idea of Pixel is to create a digital screen presence in each locality of India. When you go out to a neighborhood, you would go to clinics, salons, clubhouses. Most of these places actually have a digital screen presence. By digital screen, I mean anything from tab to TV to outdoor LEDs. Pixel has created an advertising opportunity through which all these people owning the digital screens can actually monetize those screens. So the idea is all these digital screens are connected to the Pixel platform, and Pixel enables to manage them centrally. So how are we different from the digital out-of-home advertisers? Like you as a local business shop, you can sit on your shop, in the shop and actually launch the campaign seamlessly. Once the campaign is launched, you can check the ROI, the analytics of the campaign. Based on the analytics, you can take a decision whether to actually relaunch or modify the campaign again. And most importantly, this is affordable and hassle-free for the local businesses. When a local business like the shop owner comes to our platform to book a campaign, they can select a neighborhood. Once the neighborhood is selected, they can actually go ahead and select the targeted audience they are looking at, see the price of that place, and accordingly launch the campaign real time, as seamlessly as a Facebook campaign. As our network becomes bigger, we see bigger brands like bigger media agencies or bigger brands like Big Bazaar comes to our platform and launch a pan-India campaign to specific neighborhoods. And then they can also go global with it. So once the campaign is launched, people are always interested to know what is the ROI, what is the analytics of the campaign. So we have that. We have analytics dashboard where people can come and see how many people are looking towards the advertisement at any point of time, and in fact at that instant too. So the Pixel business model is zero inventory model. We are asset light. Unlike other digital out-of-home vendors, we do not own the screens. We work with partners who owns and manages the screens. When an advertisement gets placed through our platform, the revenue gets shared between Pixel and the partners. We are working with partners pan-India across various verticals like beauty, healthcare, transportation. In fact, one of our partners recently started India's first beauty channel exclusively for salons powered by Pixel. For connecting all the screens, network is a key important necessity and requirement. We are working on a strategic trial with Reliance Jio to set up a pan-India advertising network. We have 150 plus customers using our platform. That includes multiple smaller businesses like schools, salons, restaurants. In fact, we are seeing a lot of traction from bigger brands at this point. Uber, Big Bazaar, Lakme are using our platform at this point in Bangalore. For example, Uber is using us to actually target all the apartments that we have screen presence in Bangalore and promote their ride-sharing app called Uber Share. We have presence in Bangalore, Mumbai, and Delhi at this point and have 5 partners. We have a strong product team building the product with 70 plus years of experience working in various verticals, for example, product management, engineering, pre-sales, operation, multiple MNCs like Cisco, HP, Oracle, and also multiple startups. In fact, one of the startups went IPO in US in 2015 called Apogee. ladies and gentlemen, I would be delighted to work and collaborate with you to disrupt the hyperlocal advertising market and help local businesses like the restaurant owner to promote themselves within the neighborhood and be successful. Our screen, we have a stall outside, and we'd be delighted to talk to you offline. Thank you.
Thank you, Abhijit. Most of us live very sedentary lifestyles. I have done that as well, and I continue to do that. As children growing up, though, most of the friends would get together. We would play our favorite sport, cycle, perhaps. Wouldn't it be nice if we could do that again? Wouldn't it be nice if we could find people who want to play the same sport, perhaps do the same kind of fitness training and so on? I think Playfix has found a way to do that, and just for that, let me invite Rajiv from Playfix to talk about that. Rajiv?
Thank you, Apol. Good evening. How many of you here went for a run in the morning or played a game perhaps? Great. And how many did that alone? Wouldn't you have loved to have some company for your game, for your run? Right? Wouldn't you have loved to find a game and find a partner at the touch of a button? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Playfix. Connect, go, play. Playfix helps you find a partner, locate a venue, and play at the touch of a button. I'm Rajiv Krishnan. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Playfix. I have 22 years of experience in the international sports apparel business, 5 years as CEO, and 10 years as an entrepreneur. My co-founder, Gaurav Natika, was former India #1 tennis player, is an Arjuna Award winner, has played the Davis Cup, and is the CEO of India's premier tennis academy. Our advisor, Gaurav Raina, professor of electrical engineering from IIT Madras, research fellow, University of Cambridge. Our advisor, Phil Hayes, former board member and director of Quicksilver Surfing. The fun element aside, India needs Playfix. Why? We are the diabetes capital of the world. 65 million diabetics in India. We are the cardiovascular disease capital of the world. And soon, obesity capital of the world. What is the solution? A sport a day keeps all these away. Our vision is to be the primary platform for people to connect, play, and lead a healthy, active lifestyle. Now, how does Playfix work? If you're in your city and you're looking to play, you sign up, you join a group, you form a network, you send out a Playfix request based on date and time, you get a confirmation, and you go play. What if you're in a different city and you don't know anyone, you're looking to play? You sign up, you specify your sport, you send a Playfix request to the entire Playfix network. Playfix matches your request with others who play the same sport, with the same skill, and in the same location. You get a confirmation, you go play. Now, around this whole core principle of networking, we are building a complete sports ecosystem for the community. The ecosystem currently has networking, groups, news, venues listing, events, and so on. What we will soon have is people discovery, venue discovery, ticketing, sports travel, sports services marketplace, sports goods marketplace. Our revenue streams in the order of phases are venue booking, ticketing, sports services marketplace, sports travel, sports goods marketplace, auction, and private label. We have key strategic relationships with private sports institutions, sports bodies, corporates, and educational institutions. And they are the Mahesh Bhupati Tennis Academy, Orthopedic Santé, which is a FIFA Center of Excellence in Lyon, France, HCL, IIT Madras. Our competitors in the space, indirect competitors, so to speak, are sports-specific platforms and corporate fitness providers. Our competitive advantage is us, the team. our expertise, our experience, our strategic partners, and our national and international networks. Playfix has received several key recognitions from top-of-the-line media companies. The Economist selected us as a top 3 finalist in their Innovation Award in Hong Kong. We have been selected by the Nikkei as one of 250 most promising startups in the world in their event in Tokyo later this month. Where are we going with all this? The market size for sports, health, and fitness in India is $20 billion US, and our target is to get 20% of that market in the next 10 years. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where we put our money where our mouth is. The Playfix community is our offline program, which is our direct on-the-ground connect with our customers through our Run Fit program. The Run Fit program is a running-centered fitness program where we take people from their couches and get them to run 5 kilometers over 10 weeks along with yoga and functional strength. The transformational effect of this program is nothing short of phenomenal. It has changed lifestyles, it has improved confidence levels, and simply changed lives. This is a true vindication of our belief in the power of healthy communities. So if you want to stay active, be healthy, and be happy, sign up on Playfix today. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good evening, and I'll see you on the other side of Playfix. Thank you.
Thank you, Rajiv. We agree. India needs Playfix. With an average age of 28, India is a young country, and I'm sure a platform like Playfix can provide you the motivation to stay healthy and be fit. All right, moving on, we've got a startup from Israel, Elon, coming next. So peer-to-peer lending is in its infancy in India. Elon has a lot of experience of the same in Israel. Let me invite Yigal now to talk about how they intend to become a player in Indian marketplace and how are they adapting to the Indian regulations and needs. Over to you, Yigal.
I'm Yigal, this is Nir. We are a fintech company from Israel. We've been doing peer-to-peer lending in Israel in the last 3 years. We are the first one and the successful one, the biggest one in Israel. Israel, just like in India, is a very challenging place. We don't have a credit score, or we do have some, like in India. Some of the population have. So when you do such things, you need to use big data. You need to be much more sophisticated than the others. And we proved our abilities in Israel in the last 3 years. In the product that we are selling, the kind of loans that we are selling in Israel, banks stand on 2% default rates. Credit card companies on 4%. We are below 1%. That means that we are doing better. And I'll tell you how we do it better and how we do it in how we gonna do it in the Indian market. What we are offering is online lending platform enabling scored and unscored users and businesses to get online loans via their smartphones. First of all, when you talk about India, you don't talk about desktop, you talk about Android, you talk about mobile. That means we built an app for India, for borrowers to get a loan. Second of all, when you're talking about the lenders, you are talking from our perspective, from what we say and worked with lawyers and E&Y in India, is you talk about NBFCs and banks. These are the other part of the equation. So eventually what we are offering, consumer and SME from one side, on the other side, we got bank, NBFC, and institutional that want to invest to receive better yield. As I've said, in Israel, we got a lot of big partners. We got Mita Avdash, it's the second largest investment house in Israel. They bought 20% stake in Israel, in our platform, in the Israeli platform. We got Keshet, which is the biggest media player in Israel, and we got Shlomo Sixt, which is one of the big retail groups in Israel. They are our partners. They believe in our dream, and they've been going with us in this path. We are offering a multi-layer, big data-based underwriting solution. Mobile-first approach starting with Android and a fast and reliable, secure online transaction. Eventually, we are giving to our customers 60% of our borrowers receive the money at the same day. Our default rate, as I have said, if you think it comes on the efficiency, it doesn't. We are much better than what the banks and the credit card companies do. And how do we do it? How are we going to do it in India? As I've said, we built a model prototype for mobile. We adopt a loan backend system to India, which means our rule engine is fully compatible. We are scraping bank data, which means we are receiving the financial data directly. We connect in Israel to BDI. We'll connect to Sibyl here. We know how to do everything quite smoothly. We checked the ground during this last few months with Reliance and the GenNext accelerator. We checked and we found out we know what we are doing. As I said, we researched the legal and the regulation needs. I know when we started in Israel, people told me, listen, it won't happen. The Bank of Israel, which is compared to the Israeli RBI, will not allow you to do that. But when you are bringing a better product, and when you are bringing some kind of new product to the market, Peter Thiel, in his book 0 to 1, speaks about not improving from 0.15 to 0.16. He wants you, if you want to invest in a company that can return all the investment you then so far, you have to invest in company that do 0 to 1. 0 to 1 is not selling for the top score people. We will do it, and we'll do it quickly. Believe me, we can distribute loans much faster for the top tier. The question is, how do you trickle down? And this is done through mobile app. This is done eventually by scoring them through their phone use, through who they connect to, how they behave, and what's their financial profile through their mobile, which is today is actually how they consume everything. I'll let Nir now go through a bit about technology from the borrower side, the lender side, and etc. And then I'll say what we are looking here in India.
Hi guys, my name is Nir, and I'm the CTO and Chief Product of Elon. I want to take you shortly through some of the solutions that we built for India. First, our mobile platform. It enables users in any Android mobile application to easily and securely fill up form, sign up documents online, and seal the transaction. The interesting thing is that behind the scene, what we are doing, we collect a lot of data, and we are generating what is known as IDIP scoring. We are taking a lot of usage data, mobile information, geolocation information, and social information. In addition to the classic information like banking, e-wallet, etc., we take all of this information back to our backend and then generate a score. For the lenders part, we build a beautiful backend that enables them to see everything regarding their investments. They can see their yield, they can see how much money they invest, even down to each and every loan. In addition, for each and every loan, they can see the actual borrower information, where he came from, what is his education level, and much more information. All of this information enables each and every partner, NBFC or bank, to choose and to target the exact part of the population that he wants. Our backend, of course, is based in the cloud. We have a multi-layer system that takes all of this information, put it into our rule engine, and then generating this score. All the information that I mentioned before is then get processed in the backend with algorithms and machine learning processes in order to always get our model better and better.
Thank you, Nir. So I'll explain about our team in Israel and how we're going to connect it to in India. Me, Amit, and Yoram, we are the founders. He's our CRO. Amit is the CEO, and I'm the chairman. We've been all at 8-200 unit. Nir was one of the founders, one of the early stage members of Wix, which is now a public company, and Toyota, which was exited, was bought by a bigger company. And Dan Marom and Ilan Sasson are our advisor. Dan Marom is is crowdfunding expert, and Elon Sasson is the head of the big data lab in the Tel Aviv University. We know what we are doing. We know how to do the solution, and eventually 3 months from now, after funding, and we got our Indian team already gearing up, we will distribute our first loan. Distributing our first loan, not only, I can't say that in few weeks I can get to the bottom of the pyramid. But if you want to go from 0 to 1, you have to walk the path with us. You have to walk with us the path, because a startup that can bring you from 0 to 1, that can bring you, that will, all the money that you invest in all other startups, I think you can get in this kind of change. Giving loans to people who didn't get loans so far. It's challenging, but it can be done through mobile apps, social networks, and financial understanding of e-wallets and data scraping. Thank you very much. One last thing. It's very challenging to move from the Israeli atmosphere to the Indian atmosphere. The people from GenNext really helped us. It was great. Vivek is here. Vivek, thank you very much. He's been really helpful. He's really explained to us how to do it. The guys from GenNext were amazing. It wouldn't happen without them. Come partner with us. We can do great things together. Thank you again.
Thank you, Igal. We look forward to helping Elon to become one of the key players in the lending space or peer-to-peer lending space in India. So now changing gears a little bit, did you know that in India, we have 1 doctor per 1,700 people? Way below what the World Health Organization stipulates, which is 1 doctor per 1,000 people. We believe that technology can bridge this gap. Curify has made this their mission, and I invite Raghav now to talk about their plans as to how they're going to bridge this gap significantly. Raghav?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Raghav Sehgal, and I'm here to tell you a story. Recently, my brother fell ill with a fever that was not responding to paracetamol. I had this gut-wrenching feeling in my stomach as to what is it? Is it viral or is it worst, dengue? Thankfully, it was only a bacterial infection that got sorted out with antibiotics. Now, we've all been there. Our loved ones falling sick, having the same gut-wrenching feeling, and one thought, only if I could talk to a doctor right now. And that's a problem. Good physicians are not immediately available. Whether it's your family doctor, whether it's your friend who's a doctor, they're not available immediately. They're not available 24 hours. And there's a very good reason for it, because good doctors are busy, right? We all agree to that. But here's a little secret. All good physicians have up to 25% of the time free every day. They are underutilized, and they want to utilize this time to talk to patients, but they cannot. The current system is inefficient. If we fall ill, we cannot talk to a doctor immediately, despite the fact that doctor is available to give that medical advice. This is where Curify comes in. We map this free time of doctors at a scale so that you have an access to doctor 24/7. But hold on, not just any doctor. Our Curify technology's complex algorithm takes into account your location, your preference, your patient history, among many hosts of other parameters, to make sure that you're always connected to the most relevant doctor who can provide you with a consult. With each and every consult, Curify algorithm learns and evolves. Now, in front of this all complexity, there is a very simple front end. You log in, and with just one tap, you are connected to a doctor. You don't have to search for a doctor. Our algorithm takes care of that. And you're connected over a phone call, which is the simplest, frictionless way to talk to a doctor. We also provide legal prescriptions after every call, which is signed by a doctor. And because of this simplicity and integrated experience, our users love us. We have 98% satisfaction rate, 66% repeat rate, and retention rate twice as that of our competitors. This results in a win-win situation for all the stakeholders. You get 24-hour access to doctors, and because of high repeat users, doctors get to consult more and more and utilize their time. Now, that's a great story, but how big the market is? It's a $19 billion market in India as of today of OPD consultations. Most of the advancements in medical technology has happened in inpatient department, but outpatient department has been by and large left untouched with technology. Our business model is fairly straightforward. Every time you consult with us, all the free general physician consultations are free of cost. And with every data point that we collect, it feeds into our data engine and makes sure that we connect you to a most relevant doctor. This becomes especially true in case of specialist consultations. I'll give you a very good example. A patient from Ajmer called us with a problem of blurred vision and discharge from the eye. Our algorithm figured out that his recent blood sugar ratings were high. So he got connected to a general physician with diploma in diabetology in Wokhad, Mumbai. And you know what? His eye problem was connected to diabetes. The best part is he did not know that he had diabetes. Now, that's the power of technology that we are using, along with leveraging data to provide you with the most relevant care. Now, we've emphasized a lot on the fact that we want to connect patients, and we are connecting patients to the most relevant doctor. But guess what? Hospitals also want to talk to the most relevant patients, and they are willing to pay top dollar for it. For example, Leelavati Hospital can ask us that they want calls in 20-kilometer radius from patients who are male, above 40, have had one cardiac incident in past 1 year, and have high blood pressure. And we can route the calls of the patients based on those parameters to the hospital. Now, that becomes a fantastic monetization strategy, because at one end, we are connecting patients to the most relevant doctor, and on the other end, we are connecting hospitals with the most relevant patient. Now, we started around 3 months ago. We launched application around 3 months ago with focus on Indian market. But to our surprise, we were getting steam in markets outside India, which was a fantastic insight that our solution is relevant in developed economies as much as it's in India. Our competitive advantage lies in the fact that we have patent pending technology which connects you to the most relevant doctor, and not just that, but in the least amount of time. We have best in industry connectivity with doctors in terms of the time taken to connect to and get to consult. Our basically legal prescriptions and global compliances form the next level of competitive advantage. When we scale up, this would be the factor which will differentiate amongst our competitors. And when we talk about scaling up, we have strategic partners, including Reliance, with which we are launching a pilot soon, and one of the largest health insurance TPAs. Our team has deep domain expertise in healthcare and technology. I worked with Fortis for 2.5 years before starting up. My co-founder Mayank, technical genius, worked with ST Microelectronics, earlier had a 3D printing startup, has patents for wireless communication. Among our advisors, we count Dr. R.K. Srivastav, who till recently was Chairman Medical Council of India and was the longest serving Director General of Health Services India. Mayank and I started Curify based from our personal experiences. We do wish you a long and healthy lifestyle, but in case you need our help, we'll be there for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Raghav. We believe companies like Curify can really provide a service to the nation if they can bridge the doctor-patient gap. We really are hopeful about it, and we wish them all the best. Changing gears again, Salesforce is one of the most empowered teams within any organization. They are the face to the customers. Let me invite Sridhar to talk about how small and medium enterprises are using Fieldo Mobify's solutions to make a motivated sales team and even a productive one. On to you.
I'm Sridhar from Fieldo Mobify. Let's start with the story of our existing esteemed customer, Syska LED. Syska LED has a portfolio of 1,200 products. They are working in 23 states, 35 distributors, 34,000 retailers, and with the help of 900 sales officers. Every sales officer has to go to retailer, collect order, and submit back to distributor. 900 sales guys are taking order and submitting it to office and to distributor. On an average, there are more than 9,000 orders per day. This number itself is big. Both sales officer and management are facing different challenges. Like management want to understand distributor-wise orders in real time because they want to process it faster to reduce their working capital cycle. However, the field staff want to reduce the reporting time and want to focus on next visit or more visits. There are many organizations in world who are facing disconnect between field and office, and they have lot of disconnect even though both are working in the same organization. What is the solution? Fieldo Mobify connects field to office for visualizing and scheduling the real-time activities on the field. Let's take the example of a field officer who is working in Mumbai with assigned retailers. He reached to particular retailer by using Fieldo Mobify app, showcases the products and takes order from that retailer along with the signature, so that that order is submitted to office as well as to respective distributor and through retailer. So what happens is, because of the order confirmation, organization is able to understand that order in real time. Order is visible in office real time. The sales officer do not have to do anything again because all activities are done by the system at back end. Sales officers are happy because they can go on to the next visit. They do not have to report or do anything on that. Management is also happy because they are able to get the orders in real time. Also, Syska sales officers are able to visit more than 20% visits every day. 900 people visiting 2 more visits per day. Fieldo Mobify is a unique business solution for multiple field businesses. For sales, it is helping for complete sales automation along with the order processing. For service, it is helping for providing schedule and getting the service call report from the field. For delivery, it is helping for providing delivery schedule and getting the delivery confirmation from respective people. The white labeled app are helping their consumers to act on their own. It is a SaaS solution. Mobile is connected via cloud. Due to real-time field insights, organization management or business leaders are able to take prominent decisions before time. We are integrating with multiple enterprise systems, Oracle, SAP, Microsoft Dynamics, through cloud connectors. Because of this, we are empowering existing enterprise system with real-time data, and organization is able to take powerful decisions. This works offline too. Field officers can work even in remote location. They can get to know the application on their hand, and they can work even in remote location without facing any challenges. There is a lot of field force requirement and field force mobility solution requirement across world and India. But we are focusing mainly on 2 sectors, FMCG and utility. For sales and distribution in FMCG and services and consumer app in utility, which is in total worth of $1 billion. We are aiming $150 million in next few years. Where we are right now, Currently, we are able to serve 9 enterprise customers, 55 SMEs. Right now, there are 2,700 users which are using the system every day. There are 25,000 transactions happening on this system every day. Because of the enterprise capability and enterprise connectors, we are able to scale up it faster and onboarding new customers every month. These are few of our esteemed customers in utility and in FMCG. This is my team. We have strong team who understand the business process mapping, which is the most important thing for field businesses, along with mobility part. We are happy to connect so that we can be committed and we can help field force business world making better and better every day. Thank you.
Thank you, Sridhar. May the field force be with you. All right, moving on. I want to invite my next startup, which is FitTicket. Basically, they are in the business of aggregating gyms. They provide you membership across multiple gyms, across multiple cities, a single pass. There's no excuse for you not to work out. So Ankita and Sahil, please come over.
We have seen a massive change in consumer behavior in India over the last 5 years. Earlier, we booked flights via travel agents. We made calls to order food. We hailed taxis on the road. We also recharged our phones at cornerstones. But what about now?
So now I can order food via an app. I can hail a taxi at the touch of a button. I can even book an airline ticket on my smartphone. But what about fitness, sports, and lifestyle activities? Why can't I discover the activities that are around me? Why can't I book a class on the go? And why can't I do multiple activities with just one membership? So FitTicket does exactly that. FitTicket is a single subscription model that provides access to multiple activities. Now, these can be fitness activities like yoga, Zumba, gym, and kickboxing, or sports such as cricket, football, and tennis. Even lifestyle activities like bowling and go-karting. You can do all of these with just one single membership. So how does our business model benefit all our stakeholders? For the gyms and studios, we get higher footfalls, increased revenues, and enhanced discoverability. On the other hand, as a FitTicket user, I get variety in my workouts, flexibility in my timings, and great value for money. Also, booking a class is as easy as calling an Uber or ordering a pizza.
So what have we achieved so far? So far, we have 1,200 partners that provide 250 activities and 50,000 classes in a day. We are live in Mumbai, Pune, and Bangalore with a 50% growth rate in bookings month on month in the last 3 months and a 50% growth rate in revenue over the last 3 months. What are we going to achieve in the next 12 months? We are on track to have 5,500 partners, be live in 10 cities and Dubai, and have a potential user base of 55 million and a constant growth rate. So what is our competitive advantage? Why us? We have made strategic alliances with major market leaders from various sectors. We have tied up with a leader in the travel sector. We've tied up with a leader in the corporate wellness sector. We've also tied up with major players in the fitness hardware sector. And we are in talks with a large e-commerce player. All of this put together will give us a potential reach of 55 million users. We've also created a B2B app. The B2B app gives us further insights and understanding into the industry, while also helping the industry function more smoothly. The data that we are collecting from the B2B and B2C are helping us make further informed decisions. We've also cultivated multiple revenue streams. These revenue streams are helping us in growth and sustainability today and will create a competitive edge going forward. So what is the market potential for a product like FitTicket? The Indian fitness and wellness industry is a $150 billion industry. There is a 20% year-on-year growth in this sector. We also have major issues in the healthcare sector. There are 65 million Indians today who suffer from diabetes, and there are 34% obesity in private schools in Mumbai amongst teenagers alone. We're also a young nation. We have a population of 365 million youth. with an ever-growing interest in fitness and sports. All of this put together gives us a great opportunity. And with our core expertise and technology, we are ready to disrupt the fitness industry in India.
So who's the team behind all this? Our team has expertise across various sectors. Sahil, who's the founder and CEO, is an ex-international level cricket professional. Myself, Ankita, I have a background in accounting and management, and I'm also a nutritionist. Sohail comes with experience in software engineering and finance. Sagar is a lawyer and a certified fitness trainer. And Elon has many years of experience at Infosys. So download FitTicket now and help us as we change the way people look at fitness. Also, drop by our booth because we have free activities for everyone here today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sahil, Ankita. We all know that online food ordering recently has made a lot of couch potatoes. Perhaps it's a time that you can use an app like that to probably stay healthy and fit as well now. Anyways, moving on. Quite often, procurement is one of the toughest, perhaps boring, cumbersome, and a slow process in a hospitality industry. Let me invite Tanveer from Efficient Bazaar to show how technology has enabled an e-procurement platform to add to the bottom line of any hotel or overall hospitality industry. Tanveer.
So imagine a business owner who wants to set up a new project and decides that he wants to build a hotel. He has the land, the capital, hires an architect, and gets the building in place. When he goes to market, he realizes that to operationalize his 150-room hotel, he needs to buy 2,000 different products, and to do this, he needs to work with 500 different vendors. He needs to decide a few key questions. He needs to answer what he needs to buy, who he needs to buy from, and what price he needs to buy at. So let me give you a parallel. Imagine going out to just buy a simple shirt. All of us have done that, right? We are usually spoilt by the number of choices on the table. Whether it's a shop close by, a mall, or an e-commerce portal, the choices are unlimited. Imagine having to do this for 2,000 products. That's what the hotel owner has to go through. Now multiply this problem by the number of hotels in a city and the number of cities in the country. That's a lot of conversations, a lot of negotiations, and a lot of relationships to manage. What this hotel owner needs is a partner who he can trust and who can take over the responsibility of the procurement process while letting him run his core business, which is servicing his guests. That's where we come in. Efficient Bazaar gives this hotel owner a single platform where he can buy all 2,000 of his products from certified and licensed vendors. Our team of category experts ensure that only the best vendors come onto our portal so that they can give our customers the right quality at the best price. Further, we analyze purchase patterns of the hotel to recommend purchasing quantities so that they can buy smart and avoid any out-of-stock situations. On the supply side, we give access to our vendors. A network of partners across logistics and financial services so that they are connected to all the key elements in the procurement value chain. This helps them achieve economies of scale faster, and this is exactly the advantage that we pass back to our buyers. To sum it up, Efficient Bazaar is a centralized procurement platform for the hospitality industry. We provide our customers an ecosystem of domain experts across product, logistics, finance, and technology to optimize their returns. Most importantly, we do this while making the process 100% transparent. We got our first customer on board in December 2015 with only a network of 3 vendors. At this point, we had spent about 90 days simply understanding the pain points of the market and building our technology platform. Today, we control over 60% of this hotel's procurement and have saved them over 20 lakh rupees. That's 20 lakh rupees of extra profit this financial year. We currently work with 35 hotels across a network of 80 vendors, and have feet on street in 2 cities. By the end of the year, we will be in 250 hotels with a network of 700 vendors and be operationally present in 6 cities. An interesting fact, all transactions that we've done till date are gross margin positive, and we've actually made money on them. So while I give you all of these numbers, this is a $30 billion market in India itself. So even with all these numbers, we've only scratched the surface. To build a great business, one needs to understand at a deep level the needs of a customer. With a team that has over half a century of experience in running hotels, currently manages over 90 hotels in the country, combined with the expertise in technology and hands-on experience of running a platform such as this, I believe that we have the right people to add structure to a largely fragmented industry. So if there's anybody out there who runs a hospitality business, please feel free to reach out to us so that we can make your life easier and your business more profitable. Thank you.
Thank you, Tanveer. With hospitality industry booming, I'm sure a platform like this would be a boon. Anyways, moving on. But when it comes to loans, for some people, it's not in their principle to pay the interest, neither is it in their interest to pay the loans. Some even make headlines. But for most of us, we want to keep our credit score impeccable. Let me invite Satya here, who's going to talk about the mysteries of managing credit score.
Good evening, everyone. I'm delighted to see you all here. Credit Saver is a web and mobile application for unbanked consumers in India with poor credit score. It helps them manage and monitor their credit score and also get discounted offers to close bad loans. So before telling you why consumers log on to Credit Saver, let me ask you a simple question. How many of you here have ever read your credit report? I mean your CIBIL report? Cool. So guess what? A consumer in India spends hours to read and analyze his credit score and almost 30 days to close a bad loan, and it takes 24,000 to get a credit counseling service. And you know what? In India alone, there are 330 million credit report users, and out of that, 65% are having problem with their credit report and credit score. And why, if your credit score is low, what happens? If your score is low, then you may be denied access to bank finance when you are in need. Your credit report is your financial conduct report. So here we are. We have developed Credit Saver to help you analyze your credit report instantly. Now decode your credit report. It is simple, fun, and free. All you need to do is just log on to Credit Saver and upload your credit report. And it takes half a second to analyze your credit report and score and get an understanding about that, and 24 hours to get a bad loan closure offer. And also there are many tools for you to help you improve your credit report and also take complex financial decisions simpler. So it is as simple as upload, analyze, and improve. So in this process, we help banks in such a way that they close bad loans easily and improve their process. So how we do that? So in this case, let us say every bank and its debt management division spends almost 30 to 70% as commission paid to the collection agencies. And you know what? They also carry huge operational risk in managing these agency channels. So we help these banks by connecting them to the consumers online who are willing to close their bad loans at discounted offers and reduce the operational risk and cost of collection. With almost 330 million credit report users and 65% addressable market size, we have a revenue potential of $489 million in India alone. While our focus is on the Indian market, we are planning to expand to the Southeast Asian markets and also to the global markets going forward. While the Credit Saver app is free for the consumers to use, we charge a 10% commission for the banks on closing these bad loans. So this is our strength. We have been growing 20% month on month since past few months, and with almost 50,000 users and 150 crores in bad loan book portfolio on our platform, we are seeing a 100% growth month on month in the GMV. So with 7 bank partnerships and 2 bureau partnerships, including India's largest commercial bank, we have a 200 crore revenue potential in the next 15 months to exploit. In comparison with the marketplace competitors, so we have a unique integrated platform to close bad loans as our USP, and there is a patent pending in this regard. So we are a very strong team of co-founders with 15 years of friendship and 25 years of collective experience in technology and finance. Having worked with companies like PwC, RSM, and Expedia, we are building an amazing work culture. Our advisors, who are experts in the banking industry, who are ex-bankers, and a strong team of investors, we are destined to succeed. As well said by Steve Jobs, simple is harder than complex. We have done our hard work to make the consumers take complex financial decisions simpler. Managing credit simplified, Credit Saver. Thank you.
Thank you, Satya. When individuals improve their credit score, we believe that it positively impacts the country's overall economy. And it's good to see companies like Credit Saver. Moving on, we all know that smartphones are a Swiss Army knife. It holds a great promise as a payment device. Let me invite Gaurav from Noro Solutions to show how they are improving the digital payment landscape for small and medium businesses.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Gaurav, and I'm one of the founders of Noro Solutions. At Noro Solutions, we're trying to solve a problem that touches everybody at multiple points in the day, which is the problem of payments. But specifically, we are solving the problem of offline payments. And to understand a bit more about offline payments, we should look at this stat. The e-commerce business that we all talk about is still only 5% of the retail business in India. 95% of that business is still done offline. Even on that online business, 60% of the payments are cash on delivery, which are offline payments. So we see an offline payment is actually the majority of the payments still done in India. And what tools do we have for this offline payments? Only 1% of the merchants have access to an EDC machine to take a non-cash payment. Just like Dr. Paul Raj said, infrastructure is a big problem in India, the physical infrastructure. So some of the problems that we face every day is, imagine you've ordered something from an online shop, it's cash on delivery, it comes into your house and you don't have the cash to give him. Your wife goes to a flea market, and in the flea market she likes something that she wants to buy, but the person who's selling these amazing homemade soaps has no card machine, so you can't purchase that item right there. So we have on one side the consumer who wants to take their cashless payment that they're learning to do in the online system and use that in the offline market. The other side, we have the merchant who wants to close the sale as soon as possible, but he doesn't know how to handle so many of these new digital payments that are coming up. And of course, we have the infrastructure inavailability. So this is where we come in. At Noro, we want to offer the merchants to accept offline payments in the most seamless and easiest manner, and of course, leveraging on the mobile internet revolution that has taken across India. So what are the solutions we have to solve this problem? Our first solution, we have two flavors of the solution, and our first solution is explained best again with the problem that I gave. Suppose you go to a flea market and you want to purchase something. That merchant can just, with an SMS or just a dashboard, initiate a transaction request to you. You as a customer receive this link. You tap on the link, whether it's on your SMS or email, and you get a payment screen, a fully powered payment screen that allows you to pay with the debit card, credit card, net banking, or any of the latest wallets, which include Paytm, MobiKwik, Ola Money, and hopefully soon Jio Money. The other, and once the payment is done, the merchant instantly receives the SMS notification telling the payment's done. You can walk away. The customer's happy. He's closed his sale. The other flavor we have is a more integrated solution, which is the Binge app, which uses the same powerful payment engine, but puts it in an app. And on the merchant side, we actually go and integrate with the billing systems. So imagine the scenario, you walk into a restaurant, and as you order, the bill is getting updated live on your app. At any point of time, you just press pay, choose your preferred mode of payment. Again, you have all these options available, and you can just leave. It flashes on the merchant's billing system that the payment's being done. The merchant now, so what we're really giving the merchant is one single window to sign up with us to accept all these payment modes. It barely takes us an hour to set a new merchant up. Once he does that, the customer can pay through his mode of choice. And of course, we have a very powerful dashboard that it can be used for transactions. And also, it gives the merchant full visibility into how the settlement process is happening. So we charge the merchants a two-tiered fee. It is a transaction fee and a subscription fee. But why does the merchant, why would he pay to us? He's already doing his business right now. Why does he want to do it differently? Because what we charge, we give them a 10 to 18 times ROI on what he pays us. And how do we do that? We give him a faster closure. So he doesn't lose the customer. The customer doesn't have a time to go back and rethink his decision. So our merchants have actually said they're getting 10 to 15% incremental faster closure rates. There's a huge cash collection cost where it's estimated around 5 to 6% of the cash value. So there is, and of the cash losses, of course. So the merchant doesn't have to deal with that. And for some merchants, they also have the cost of having a runner boy going to you, picking up the cash or the check and coming back. So that's around $15,000 to $20,000 a month. That also goes down. So all of that adds up and gives a bottom line addition to the merchant. So we have around 250 merchants who are already live with us, who are seeing this value, and we're clocking close to 1 crore of monthly transactions. These are some of the merchants we have. We have the Porsche car dealerships. We even have somebody delivering food. We have the full spectrum. We have somebody who's selling homemade soaps. So all of these guys see value in us, and we hope to capture a bigger chunk of this $600 billion offline pie that's in India. Thank you.
Thanks, Gaurav. It's good to see companies like Noro Solutions bringing new age payments to traditional brick and mortar companies. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the end of pitches. We would like to thank our partners, Microsoft Ventures, in helping us run and manage this batch, as much as running and managing the GenNext Innovation Hub by itself. I'll hand it off to my able colleague, Rajiv, to take this event forward.
Thank you, Apul. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, one more round of applause for all these great startups. परिंदों को नहीं दी जाती तालीम उड़ानों की, परिंदों को नहीं दी जाती तालीम उड़ानों की, वो खुद तय करते हैं मंजिल आसमानों की। रखता है जो हौसला आसमां को छूने का, उसे परवाह नहीं होती गिर जाने की. And that's what we are seeing in all these startups, the kind of enthusiasm, passion, and all that what we learned from our dignitaries, perseverance and aspirations. Thank you, Apul. Thank you for conducting this lovely, very interesting session. And now we have a very interesting power panel discussion which gives insights into journey beyond GenNext. And this very interesting conversation, the startups, it is between the startups who have graduated from GenNext and their mentors. Ladies and gentlemen, let me have the pleasure of inviting our panel members, Mr. Ravi Narayan, Director of Microsoft Ventures in India. Welcome, Mr. Narayan, sir. Mr. Dhruvil Sanghvi is the co-founder of LogiNext, a part of the first batch of GenNext program. Sagar Apte, founder and CEO Car IQ, also our alumni. May I also request, and I'm not seeing Mr. Vivek Rai Gupta, if any of my colleagues can help call him, please. Mr. Gupta will represent GenNext on the panel. And to moderate this interesting panel discussion, we are fortunate to have Mr. Gautam Chikarmane, the new media director at Reliance Industries. He is also an author, and the latest book that he has written is Tunnel of Varnavrat. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome the panel members. And as Mr. Gupta is joining the stage, over to you, sir. Mr. Chikarmane, sir.
Thank you. Is my voice audible? Yes. The advantage of being at the end is that you have very few but highly concentrated and very interested bunch of people to talk with, and the promise for you, since for your patience, the reward for your patience is that we are not going to bore you with any lectures. It's going to be a conversation, and I would request you to please engage with if there's a point, just raise your hand, and we can make this a larger conversation than simply a one-way traffic, just like social media is. So I think if you look at us as a Twitter screen, you can retweet or you can pause and you can converse with us. I would encourage that. So today, the theme, so to speak, is do accelerators, do incubators, do they work at an institutional level? And I thought that nobody can tell us that whether and how and to what level it works than our previous batch, to which I was very lucky to have worked with very closely, and I'm extremely proud of. And these two are indeed my favorites. I had asked them the last time that, is it possible to invest 1,000 rupees in your startups, because we were there, and they said, no, I think the minimum was what, some million? No. Okay. So Dhruvil, tell us your experiences. Do you think incubators work?
So I think we had a very interesting journey with GenNext. I remember October 2014 was a time when we got an email, and there was this platform called F6S, where we saw GenNext and Microsoft Ventures coming together and advertising that there's a new accelerator program coming in, and they're going to help the startups. And this time it's coming with the joint partnership of Reliance and Microsoft, both the biggies of India. And we applied. We decided we were a team of 5 people at that point in time. It had been only 6 months in the journey. We started our company in Feb 2014, which was just 6 months before this announcement came in. And we were kind of skeptical. We were apprehensive. Hey, is it the right time to invest time into this program? What are we going to gain out of it? We have never heard of many successful accelerator programs in India. Or even globally, it's the success rate is very, very low, just like startups, right? I mean, hardly 1% startups succeed in general. So we thought, but then we thought, let's just give it a try. Let's just apply. Let's see how it goes. Then the day came when we were applying for it. We got the auditions, kind of a thing. We were called at the Nariman Point office, and we went there. We met other startups. We met the guys. We met all of the people who were running GenNext, who were promoting GenNext. And that's when we saw that hope in our own vision, that these are the kind of guidance that we are looking for. This is the kind of mentorship we are looking for, because we had a little bit of personal savings. We had a few customers. We had a very basic alpha product. We had just launched in the market, but what we didn't have was that mentorship. And we were being an enterprise software company. We were pitching to very large enterprises. So meeting and understanding what a large enterprise thinks of us was very much required at that point in time. So that's where.
Let me just interrupt you. What about your journey, Sagar?
So, so for us also, to a certain extent, it was skeptical to kind of when we started, but we were probably on the other side of the rainbow. So while Dhruvil's team was probably 5 people, we were already at 18 or something when we started. And one of my investors, Chris, is here, and we were really sitting and discussing, is that the age for a startup to get into an accelerator and see what comes out of it. The reason we kind of came into the accelerator purely was because we thought it was a good time for us to re-look at our own business, because all startups fall in love with their business. we definitely were in love. We are still in love, but we definitely were in love with our business. And so we were wondering, is there an external view which is going to validate or question everything that we've been thinking so far? And that's the reason why we decided to kind of get into the accelerator.
So Ravi, is that what you thought the incubator would do, the accelerator would do, or did you have different ideas? Because you've been running it in different places much before we were.
Yeah. So we accelerated the car IQ so much that we call them iBot now. Yeah, so one of the things that we see in the startups ecosystem, if you see the Bay Area or Israel for that matter, there is a physical proximity and there is this concentration of startups, VCs, mentors, angel investors. Everybody is in the same place. So there's a lot of things that could potentially happen by the fact that there are so much of proximity, physical and otherwise. So the whole concept of accelerators came about because in places like India, for example, we are so dispersed. There are startups in Bangalore, in Delhi, in Mumbai. So I liken this to, frogs in a pond, or rather fish in a pond, where the male fish, puts the sperms into the water, and the female fish puts the eggs in the water, and we are all taking a chance. Something may happen. The mentors may meet the startups, and the startups may find the angel investors. You're not very sure, really, whether it will happen or not. When you have an accelerator, on the other hand, you actually ensure that there is physical contact, and there is indeed the chance that there will be some level of mentoring, some level of acceleration on the technology side, on the business side. And this creates this, the whole mindset of the entrepreneur goes from being a 5-man company to actually going and raising several millions of dollars and becoming the best startup in the country. That's only possible if you are able to bring this concentration together.
So Vivek, scale up as a Reliance person, which scales up in ways most people are unable to even imagine. What is this scale up thing that have you been able to transmit it firstly into the startups here?
Gautam, I'll answer it differently. I think you were talking about accelerators. I think we're trying to accelerate ourselves first. I think for us, it's not really whether we are helping them, they're helping. I think it's a journey for both of us. We're trying to build companies that can succeed together because we need them, they need us. And that's a journey we are on. And the acceleration will happen. I think we're reaching a critical mass. We started with 10 and maybe, about 30, 40 entrepreneurs. Now we are up to about 100 entrepreneurs in our fold. I think our target next year is to be 1,000, and we've said we need to grow 500% every year. And that's how we see achieving our targets of building Digital India by 2018, 19. So I don't see our role as accelerators. I see our role as building companies, building the critical mass, building a wave of like-minded people that come together and do some good things.
Ravi, may I just invite you? I think you had initiated this discussion earlier in the previous discussion. What are your views?
No, I've already stated it, right, very clearly. I think, not all accelerators are the same, first and foremost. I think there are many forms. Some all the way from co-working spaces to others which are really venture capitalists who are incubating ideas themselves, right? So
how do you see this experiment between the GenNext, between Microsoft, Reliance, and the enterprise?
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic combination, right? Because if Reliance brings the industrial, let's say, let me use that for lack of a better word, footprint, right? Microsoft brings the technology, and I think very important, Ravi and team have been running an accelerator that is an open platform for already a couple of years before, at Microsoft, right? So that's very important learning, and I think they can bring the ecosystem. I think Bangalore a little bit too to the table, and they can bring Mumbai and finance, and you can have magic happen. I think that's it's not a formula per se. I think it's the intent, the trajectory. I think bringing the right resources, and like the sperm and the eggs, you got to make it happen, right? And put it all in the right petri dish.
Thank you. So I mentioned scale because a lot of our entrepreneurs this time said that they got insights from the GenNext program into how to scale up the business. Dhruvil, you've scaled up pretty well. Would you like to elaborate how, is there a contribution of an accelerator or is it your own enthusiasm?
I think it's of course both, and there's a huge after effect of accelerators, right? So as the name suggests, relay. So more value came, not more, but a lot of equal kind of a value that came over months, even after we graduated from this program. We have a small WhatsApp group, right, which just keeps on helping us feed from each other as startups. All the GenNext guys are still there. They keep us giving mentorship. I still remember whenever I have any advice needed, I can just give a call to Ravi. He's that accessible. So that accessibility, that connect, that network is just flowing for a longer time, and that mentorship keeps on going. That helps us scale, and a lot of learnings which we learned at that time, which we implemented after graduation. So it has definitely helped a lot in scaling up from a product development point of view, business development point of view, marketing point of view, a lot of brand building point of view. So yeah, a lot of lesson learned.
Sagar, so would you recommend your friends or other entrepreneurs to go through an accelerator program? How essential is it?
Yeah, absolutely, I would. For a couple of reasons. One, the way we were operating before we got into the Microsoft GenNext accelerator, and I remember Rajneesh from Microsoft and John from GenNext, they used to eat our heads out. I mean, there were Excel sheets to be filled, there were weekly updates to be given, which sometimes that's the whole thing. Sometimes you fall, like keep saying this, you sometimes fall in love with your own product that you want to fix that small thing before it goes out to market. And John and Rajneesh would have none of it. They said, like, if it has to fail, let it fail outside. Let it not fail inside. You are a company, not a lab. Just send it out there. They forced us to think numbers. They forced us to put a number on an Excel sheet, which was being tracked on a weekly basis. How much we went is a different story altogether, but the intent was there, the direction was there.
I think on the Excel sheet side, I have a very, very quick one. I think so. Pankaj from the GenNext team had suggested a very comprehensive business plan format when we were there. It was like too huge, with all the fixed asset modeling and this and that. We didn't need it at that time, but I'm using it now. So that's the kind of help that when I was given at that point in time, which is very relevant at this stage in our growth cycle.
Okay, so one thing that I learned from the last year's batch, which came as a shock to me, and now I'm coming to terms with it, and which was discussed earlier in the presentation, and over which I had a short argument with Bhaskar a few minutes ago, is that how can any business grow at 100% per month? I couldn't come to terms with it. I couldn't even visualize it. And here it seems to be the common currency. Can you just tell us how this works? I mean, for how long is 100? It's a big compounding number.
Yeah, in the very early days, if you don't do that, it's rather rude and we won't call you a startup. So you're starting from zero. You're pretty much, creating certainty out of uncertainty that you're in. And while you're doing that, you are, like Car IQ had already convinced a lot of people to actually come in and invest in them. They had a product. The question was, what solution were they going after? Once you have found, what problem are they trying to solve? They had a solution already in place. So if you have found the problem that is out there, and it's a large enough problem, which is a few $1 million or a few $1 billion kind of a problem, then obviously you're sitting in something that is completely open, and you need to be able to capture that market and make it your own. This is what people call category winners, right? And if that is the opportunity that you're sitting on, not growing at 100% month on month is rather rude.
Vivek, you agree with that? So expectations is one thing. Maybe as incubators or even as venture capitalists, expectations, it's all fine. And even take the concession of a small starting point. But 100% per month?
Okay, Gautam. I think we shouldn't let that go to corporate, and their expectation for us will be to grow 100%, then we'll... Anyway, now back to what you're saying. I think I'll answer it in 2 or 3 different ways, Gautam, as what it is. See, we are all at this point talking about internet and digital businesses. And in digital businesses, a good validation of the model is that does it get, after the proof of concept, does it get receptivity, does it get viral, does it get acceptance? Because there's no limit to growth. It isn't that we have to reach customers by hand or foot or those kind of things. And the fact is that only the top few guys are going to survive. So it is important that if that business is correct and fundamentally sound, it should reach that scale. Otherwise, we really need to question and understand, are we doing the right things? Or do we need to go back? So I think those are some of those inbuilt measures built in. I think even if you look at today, some of the larger companies in e-commerce, they've set a target of 400 to 500% per year. That's a kind of the growth rate. Because if you look at it, they start from zero, not only zero in terms of their own revenue, but zero in terms of market share, zero in terms of creating the new market. And with that 500% growth, they still have only achieved 10% of the market share. So they still got 90% to do, right? So they can't be growing 1% incrementally per year, even in market share. That means that that model is not working, and disruption means that you need to be able to disrupt something in a couple of years.
Okay, so Karthik, you are another from the last year's batch. Tell us, 100% per month happening?
Not always, and that is when you are pushed to think of other markets where you can take your product to. In fact, that's what happened to us while we were at GenNext. We were really focused on one category, and we realized, hey, this is applicable to other categories as well, which are going much faster. So let's start putting our product out there, and that's where we were able to find new markets for us.
Any other entrepreneurs here who have stories to tell about growth? Any investors here who can talk about their expectations, growth expectations? Ravi?
You come to me as, no, I'll tell you, it's in enterprise software, let me say, right? The first 2 or 3 customers, sometimes low-hanging fruit, sometimes friends and family, you get past that. The 3 to 7, to get to the double digits is critical. And then I think the flywheel starts to go, right? Because you've got the pattern, you know how to sell, you know what the, and you maybe solved 3 or 4 silos of problems, for different customers. And then you've got to resist the temptation of doing feature riders to your product, right? Which is every time you go into a sales cycle, somebody says, I'll buy if you do this, and then you go back to your team and say, the teams that resist that can get past the 10 to the 25 or the 100 and keep scaling. Because that's a discipline, very hard. Because you're always tempted, especially because you start to see success early. You then say, let me just put that in there. I get 3 more customers. And you say, that's a BFSI customer. Now I can go after that whole segment if I do that, right? So that's the key thing. In business and B2C, it's a very different ballgame. It's truly, one, can you create value that, in some sense, if you look at the pipeline, the funnel, you're shoving balls down the top, you're getting value at the bottom. It's cost at the top, value at the bottom, right? You want to get as square a funnel as possible so that every ball that goes into the top, that you're paying for, by the way, comes out as value at the bottom. And that's the key. I think if you can get that funnel economics right, you get B2C going well, right? Most people don't.
So a lot of B2C happens, correct me if I'm wrong, through you actually buy customers. Is that really growth? I don't know. Satish, B2B, tell us, 100%?
No, sir. Trying hard, but 100% is not happening for us right now.
Okay, so let's come back to the incubator. So how did GenNext, did they force you to think in this manner? Were you already thinking like this?
No, we were not thinking in the 100% manner for sure when we joined. We were forced to think, yes, as Sagar mentioned, that we were actually forced to quantify the growth, measure the growth. In the early stage, typically you don't feel like measuring growth because I'm anyways working hard. I'm anyways doing as much as I can. So even if I don't measure, I'm not gonna work even harder if my growth is lower. But that measure, when you measure the growth, it's of course for B2B, if we are in enterprise software, so we don't do like a weekly, month, 100% or a monthly 100%. It's more quarterly and in terms of revenue. But GenNext did kind of put some metrics around it, which gave us better clarity on our own business models and our own measurability on this is how to actually measure our own growth, which can be very unique KPIs than any other business models.
Sagar, did you think, let's forget growth, was there any, did you feel constrained because of the organized large companies, Microsoft and Reliance way of thinking, approach, and institutional support? Did you feel constrained to your entrepreneurial abilities while being at the accelerator?
No, not really. I mean, I don't think, I mean...
Let me rephrase. Entrepreneurs think in a different way, while institutions and large companies, corporates, conglomerates, they think differently. Could you feel that?
No, we didn't. I think purely because the people who were put into this whole program had startups in the past. They could identify with what we were doing. They were so in tune with the startup community there that there was no corporate culture other than one of our colleagues, Vinu, having to wear full pants to the Reliance building. No other visible change was observed for us as a company standpoint. In fact, what I heard was the whole infrastructure for the GenNext hub was changed when the hub was started. So there were a lot of these posters put up and a more friendlier environment created. So we don't feel as if it's a very highly corporate environment. That was done actually, it was physically done to make us feel better.
Ravi, did you feel any cultural difference when you deal with Microsoft, the company, and GenNext, an innovation hub? Is your management style different? Do you think differently? Do you talk? I mean, there is a cultural shift. Do you need to change gears?
Yeah, when I'm looking out and I'm working with the startup ecosystem, the VCs and all that, it's something that is flexible, fluid. You work with them, you shape them, you get them to accelerate, do a lot of things. And when you actually look back and look at Microsoft and you say that's a culture that you're still trying to change and you're trying to make things happen in a very different way. So this whole experiment, I think Vivek had mentioned it earlier, is a learning process for us as well. So it is not that we have something to offer to the startups as much as we are learning from the startups what are the new innovations that are coming up, what are the new technology trends, what are the new cultural aspects that's happening in the startup ecosystem that we should learn from. It's not just one way, it's actually both ways.
You agree with that, Vivek? It's a two-way learning system?
Absolutely, yeah. I think, as I said right in the beginning, we wouldn't be getting where we need to get if it wasn't for a joint journey.
Any question? Yes, sir.
Thank you. My name is Srinivasan. I'm writing a book on startups. I met one gentleman called Amit Mishra. He is from the first batch of yours. And last year I had interviewed him. I was writing an article. And just 2 months back, I interviewed him again. And I felt there is a lot of difference, his level of confidence had gone up. Maybe that, I will call it a world view. From being a startup, he was having an opinion about things, about matters. When I look at startups, I see that they are looking at their product and a small view they have around the customers. Whereas what we need is to think on a larger scale. So maybe what your forum has brought about the change in him is the level of confidence and the networking, I think. That is what made a difference.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments here? How would you take that, Vivek?
You won't give me the mic, so I had to take
yeah, this is mine.
So thank you for your comments and thank you for that feedback. That's very helpful. I think overall, as we said, we are all learning. We are all accelerating together. And the interaction of different kinds of people that we are able to bring together, and hopefully we'll be able to bring even more depth, more global perspectives. I think that will improve because you are, as our panelists said very well. You come in with some certain thoughts, processes, and certain thinking, and then you get exposed to a lot of people. And that helps you validate what you're doing, and hopefully they refine and continue to evolve. And I think that leads to the confidence, and I think pilots and all that. So happy for that feedback. Thank you.
So I think, just to add to that, see, the entire acceleration journey is not about just, you know, the resources that a Microsoft or a Reliance can bring you. It's actually a more of a mental journey than actually a journey that provides resources. Acceleration is not done through resources, because a lot of startups that come to you primarily are saying, you know, I got it all figured out. I'm going to go to that market, I'm going to build this product, and you know, everything else, you give me customers or you give me money, and everything else I'll take care of. Unfortunately, the accelerator program doesn't give you either. It doesn't give you money, or it doesn't give you, you know, the resources that you're saying that you need right away, at least. It is actually after the fact. So for the people who have actually constrained themselves in a worldview that, you know, puts them in a certain place, in a certain market, you're actually saying that's not it. You actually have a completely new opportunity that you're sitting on that you're not really, you know, leveraging. You're not taking advantage of it. So you actually get them to actually start thinking in a very different way. There's a paradigm shift within the first 2 months, after which you start making them pitch to customers, pitch to investors, pitch to everybody else. Because unless that paradigm shift happens, it just, you know, it's not very easy for us to just throw something to them and them to be able to absorb it. So it's actually something that continues on later on, because they're beginning to solve the problems using the same paradigm that has now been formulated in the program. So you will see them confident, you see them, you know, hungry, you see them wanting to go global, and all these happens primarily because of the fact that they have started thinking very differently.
Thanks. Rajiv, can I have your attention? So do you agree with this? Dhruval, did you expect that?
No. To be honest, you were pretty
Sagar?
clear.
Yeah, nothing less was expected.
Okay, so elaborate
the
that.
reason we came there was for that. So.
Elaborate that.
No, see, so for us, Reliance and Microsoft together was a combination. We kind of felt that Reliance knew how to work at a consumer level, and Microsoft had the technology to make it available at a level. We, as Car IQ, had two challenges. One was telling people that this is a good technology, you must probably adopt it, which was one thing. The other was purely showing value and trying to see how the whole cost to pricing point can be met. And for us, these were the two reasons really that we came here in the first place, and we were not disappointed at all. I mean, I remember folks from Microsoft sat through the whole architecture, and even today we continue to kind of engage with them. I mean, Ravi knows we kind of still go meet, take help. I remember folks from Reliance Jio sat through us, looked through our whole product portfolio through the component level and told us, you got to kind of fix these things. So that's phenomenal.
You know, there is just too much optimism and happy things out here. I mean, you know, it's almost artificial. Is it really true? I mean, or is it something to do with entrepreneurs that they are genuinely very positive? And are you sure it's a perfect, GenNext is a perfect world?
No, there are ups and downs, certainly, for sure. So ups were a lot like more than downs. That's why we're talking about ups only right now. But the downtimes were more on the more related to the entrepreneurial journey that you have, because sometimes you plan, you measure, you make Excel sheets, you know the problem, but you just can't fix it, right? And how to nobody's gonna come and fix it for you. People can just only tell you this is the problem, or they can advise you this might be the problem. But ultimately, you as the promoter or the founder or the early team member of the startup has to go and fix it immediately with lean resources and offer it to your customers so that customers are happy and they get the value. So those kind of downs do come. At that time, time commitment becomes an issue, right? Because you still have to catch up with other startups. You sometimes see other startups growing faster than you. So you feel that heat of competition. Ultimately, it's positive. But a lot of such ups and downs come in the journey. And I think it's more of a part of the entrepreneurial journey than the accelerator only.
So congratulations, Vivek and Ravi. I think you have created a perfect world. And, you know, From tomorrow, we don't need to worry about anything. You know, everybody in the room is in sync with that, right? Everything is positive, everything is great. Accelerators are lovely, right? Okay, so we'll just close now. 10 seconds. Sagar. Closing remarks.
Say something bad. That's what you're asking.
Anything. Do accelerators work and how?
No, accelerators work, but if the company is ready for it, you have to kind of change the way you are. Is it completely positive? Yes, if you are willing to see that world, okay. And as we've been talking about, it's a two-way process also. So I remember the earliest days we were always compared to the food tech industry when we came. Look at that, those food guys were able to go to 5 cities, and how is it you are not going? And we are like, look, we are a hardware company, we have to build hardware. I can't just send a broken hardware. Why don't you compare yourself against a mobile app which can be just distributed and fixed from a central location? I cannot send out hardware units which I know are defective until I fix them. So those are cross-learning opportunities that happen.
Dhruvil?
I think they do work. I think it's not even two-way. It's more from the promoter's side. So as I mentioned, right, again, the same thing. Somebody can only advise you, they can find problems, but that's what accelerators do. They give you vision, they help you get the vision, but it's ultimately the startup who has to go and take that learning and do something with it.
Vivek?
I think both Sagar and Dhruvil have been generous with their comments. Dhruvil is not sharing some of the frustrations that he's had with us, and so is Sagar. But all said, I think we are looking good because we are fortunate to get good people with us. And I think that's a key. We shouldn't forget that.
Ravi?
Yeah, we talked about the accelerators. Let's also talk about us as people who actually run the accelerator programs. So for us, we liken ourselves to Krishna. So Krishna is the one who actually took Arjuna to the right places at the right time and helped him make the right decisions. So that's the reason we feel that we were able to provide them certain advice that they had valued. If you had just given them advice, in the beginning of the war and say, this is what's going to hold you through for the rest of the 18 days, they would have said, forget it. But because of the fact we actually took them to places and got them to go through the circumstances that they were facing, that they actually value what we did. On the other hand, we also like the role of Krishna in this ecosystem because Krishna had multiple girlfriends, multiple wives. I'm not sure, but either way, it was an ideal way of living. So, so Krishna is a great role model for us.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Jai Shri Krishna.
Over to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, extra round of applause to Mr. Gautam Chikarmane for climbing the stage 3 times without taking a support. May I request him to please offer a token of love and appreciation, Reliance Jio's new mobile phone, Life. May I request Mr. George Paul, Head of Operations, GenNext, to please offer one to Mr. Gautam Chikarmane. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you very much. The event cannot be complete. Yes. The event cannot be complete without acknowledging and thanking people who have contributed to its success. May I request Amay Mashelkar to please come up on the stage for a quick vote of thanks. Amay.
Thank you all for being here today, supporting us and cheering for us. Let me first take a bow to the startups. They've shown amazing commitment over the last few days going into the demo day. I think this evening belonged to you, my friends, wherever you are. Deep gratitude to our most energetic Professor Paulraj. He has left. He was here on a whirlwind India trip, which included a quick stopover in the Himalayas as well. But he made time for us. Thank you. Grateful thanks to Dr. Mashelkar and Mr. Bhaskar Pramanik, who have been our inspiration at GenNext and Microsoft Ventures for pushing us to go higher and higher. Deeply thankful to our other panelists who are deeply involved in our mission. Mr. Ravi Gururaj will be with us more and more going forward. Mr. Vivek Rai Gupta, Mr. Ravi Narayan for helping us execute the program. Dhruvil and Sagar for being our champions and great examples of grit, determination, passion and energy that inspires our startups. Mr. Rohit Bansal, I don't know if he's still here. Mr. Gautam Chikarmane, he's here. For your belief and enthusiasm. Thank you very much. I'd like to take a bow to our women and men in the trenches, the entire GenNext team and the Microsoft team. Rajiv, George, Apul, Abhishek, Naveen, Abhishek, one more Abhishek, our young interns and analysts and all my excellent colleagues. Incredible energy and great passion, thank you. All our mentors who are here with us today, Arvind is here. Thank you for your time and energy in helping our startups. I can see Sachin also, he's probably left. Special mention of the corporate communications team, Tushar, Ladiji, Rishi and others. You all have put us on the map. Thank you and hope we can deepen our collaboration going forward. Sanjay Bhai, Mitesh and Bonani from the branding team and the display house team. Shailesh, Ashish and team for the design and coding, the exchange team. Our facilities and security team for helping us, our procurement and contracts team. You're behind the scenes but really made us a big success tonight. Friends, continue cheering for our startups. As friends of startups, we need to celebrate more, we need to cheer more. Keep cheering, and if you like what you saw, please encourage startups to apply to us for our spring batch. Join us for networking. Our startups are very eager to meet all of you. Thank you.
So ladies and gentlemen, लोग कहते हैं जिंदा रहेंगे तो फिर मिलेंगे. लोग कहते हैं जिंदा रहेंगे तो फिर मिलेंगे. मैं कहता हूं मिलते रहेंगे तो जिंदा रहेंगे. Thank you very much. Have a very good evening. Good night. Please join us for networking and tea in the foyer. Thank you.